For PMs, again, the three components are very important. The first component, learning how these systems work. This should not be a black box for you. At least if you're touting yourself as a PM who's working with AI, you should know what is the underlying theory which is making these things happen. You should be able to certify and validate with metrics what is that success measure of these products and are they able to do what they are expected to.
Then you'll be replaced. If you're using your brains and you're able to actually think from a first principles perspective and actually use these tools as methods for you to be successful and not solve the context layer, the LLM layer or the inferencing layer and the weights and biases, because that technology is cracked.
Thank you, Sakshi, and good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for taking time on a couple of weekend mornings to upskill yourself. I hope this workshop delivers the value that we intend to. I think since 2021, 2022, there has been very few folks who have remained untouched, at least in the tech domain, from this AI story, right? And I believe most of you, in some form or the other, are leveraging AI tools to improve your day in, day out. Um, and I think a lot of folks I see on the chat also are from already product background or from user experience background. It's fantastic that product managers themselves are in this tricky situation where how do I leverage AI, how do I create tools, how do I use it for my productivity, how do I bring that into the existing solutions that my company is working on. All of that, I think, comes down to three pieces. First piece is the theory and how all of this is working. Why is this transformer LLM space evolving so fast? How can I learn that? That's the first part. Second is what are the tools that I can really use to get started and be really productive as a PM. And third, can I build something of my own? Because I see a lot of people who are just coming out with agents, AI chatbots, and all these playgrounds. Can I do something of my own quickly that shows the proof of concept and gives me the confidence to transition from a PM, senior PM, lead PM, group PM to a AI based PM, right? And that is what we'll try to cover. I know we have done this similar workshop in the past. We had fantastic feedback. We had our cohort also where we had a lot of senior PMs. By the way, some of them would be coming up later in the session to show their work that they have built with us on the capstone or on the cohort learning experience itself. So the idea is these three parts that I said, right? Theory, transformers, LLMs, how does that happen? Second, can I use some tools? Can I increase my productivity as a PM? And third, when I myself am I thinking as a um, PM or a senior PM or a principal PM, what are the things that I can take away from this workshop to make my tools better, right? That is what we'll try to deliver to you. As I said, the last workshop was really fantastic. We had really good feedback. And we understand some of the folks who were there in the last workshop would not want the repetition of the same content or the same coherence. So when we did ChatGPT Playground and Gemini Playground, and last time we did the data analysis of Kaggle using all the generative AI tools, we will not do that. Of course, as part of our cohort and as part of prompt engineering around that, we cover that part as well. Today, we are trying to introduce to some of the new tools. The major focus of that would be on advanced prompting. How do you increase your productivity, to answer the second part of it. And the third part of it, can I build something of my own? Can I add something to my portfolio? Can I show proof of work as a PM? That is where we'll be doing prototype building. I think for PMs, quick prototyping and iterating quickly on apps, websites. Gone are the days where you are building only non-interactional 2D interfaces on Figma. Now you can really build quick apps, websites, full-fledged products, roll it out, deploy it, and let your interviewer see. If tomorrow I'm interviewing with a company XYZ, I can build a feature, I can build a website, I can build a proxy website for them, build that feature out and just tell them, hey, I have this link, why don't you go and develop it? We'll try to do that in the 20 minutes itself. The first part, where what is the theory, what is the concept heaviness, and how is this space, all of this evolving so fast, right? We'll have Rumit Anand. He's SVP with Glance. They are doing fantastic work in space of image and content creation using AI. This is one native Indian team which is building the entire technology stack bottoms up. So once we have given you hands-on of the tools and once we have given you the understanding of prototyping, Rumit would come in and talk about his journey, what is he looking in recruiting PMs in the AI space, and how are they building this next generation indigenous stack for image creation in India. Right. So that's the context. Again, thank you so much for taking time on a Monday morning to be with us. We'll start with some high level of understanding through trivias. I'm pretty sure the crowd that is here is invested in AI and knows that it is a thing that will get big. So let's just try to gauge where your current understanding is in terms of AI, what's happening. We'll have a couple of questions and we'll want if you can quickly give answers in the chat to this first one. Text to video, text to video. Okay, fantastic. So at least, and I'm so happy that people are informed, people are following about this. A lot of you are new, a lot of you are already associated with us in the normalized learning experience. It is Sora is the OpenAI's version of text to video generation tool. It came out with some fantastic videos. It promises to democratize the entire digital marketing landscape. We will have one of our students, Ashima Diwan. She's a senior product person from Gurgaon. She will come and talk about how in the cohort learning she has learned in-depth architecture and the limitations of Sora and how Sora can be used versus how it cannot be used. Right. So fantastic. That's the right answer to the first one. It's B, text to video generation. Can we go to the next one? Yep. O1 model, which recently came out, is known for what?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I think again people are informed about it, and um I'll be glad if someone could also talk about the most recent one and what if you can just type out what is AGI if anyone has that understanding. Where is this entire landscape of ChatGPT gone with launch of O3 models? And it's great that you understand that it's an advanced reasoning model. It has its own layer of nope, it's not tasks, Gurshar. I think, um, and that is where the part one, two, three, the theory, the tools, and the application is very important, right? When we are only following what the media outlets or the YouTube videos are talking about, we stay aloof from the underlying theory of why AGI is so important. Human level intelligence, okay, and what was the contract between Microsoft and OpenAI with relevant to AGI when it reached AGI? Anyone on that thought? So at least when this all of this started getting heat in 21 October, there was this concept of artificial general intelligence where it is said that leaving aside the Turing test, which has now become very basic for these smart LLM models, there'll be a time where the general intelligence level of these LLM models or generally the AI capabilities would be beyond human reasoning capabilities, and that is where artificial general intelligence would be coming to fruition. And it's very evident that we are very close to that, and some metrics, and we'll talk about that as we go forward, which check how quick is a person or how quick is a person uh, in comparison to a model can now be benchmarked. And some of these models, especially coming from chat gpt, are able to beat that human level of intelligence. So B is the right answer. Enhance reasoning capabilities to the level of AGI, right? Can we go to the next one? And this is one of the side which I think uh, with great power comes great responsibility, right? And people who are really keen on learning this technology or building tools will again walk through some of this. But how critically do you understand what exactly this is and what is this limitation? Okay, I think almost everyone got it correct. So generating false or misleading information, and this is um, there are two schools of thought to this. One is saying that this is just getting worse and worse with every day, and the other one is touting that no, hallucination in general is reducing with RAN and the most recent information being provided to these LLM models. We will talk about, and in the cohort as well, we give you exact metrics to check how much is the hallucination and how much of it is the real content. So yes, this has been one problem, and we'll talk of some of these examples, right? So I'm happy that you are with me so far. You have been reading about this content. Let's get to the meat of the content, right? Let's move on to the next one, which I think all of you have seen this. Every big tech company, the largest players are talking about it, be it your devices, be it your Google search, be it Apple devices, be it your hardware GPUs, or any of the enterprise suites that you are using in your office. It is said that AI will revolutionize it, and it is already revolutionizing it. I'm hoping, and I'm really uh, wishful that most of you are already using some of these tools to improve your productivity, and that brings you here to take this to a level higher, right? And that is what we'll try to do today. um, this is what we hear of, right? But if you look at the growth story of AI in general, can you go to the next one, Sakshi? Right. If you see the Moore's law, which is generally applicable to electronics and hardware, so it was applicable to internet scale and hardware in the late 90s, and then came the storage in the early 2000s, and since then it has been the speed of internet which was used on Moore's law, that it doubles or more than doubles every 2 years. But if you see the growth of these LLMs, right, especially 2018 onwards, and when it started getting traction in the public domain, and you might have seen that fact around how much time did it take for companies to hit the first 100 million users. We repeated that in the first workshop, so not showing it again here. But if you just see the scale of it, and Sakshi, would it be okay if I uh, take over the screen for once? I really want to show you the diagram that was there, and I will also put the link to this one in the chat so that all of you can be with me. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, yes, Arun.
Okay, so just go around and just look at this workflow diagram, which talks about how the AI has evolved. If you see the size of these model, it represents the number of parameters that they have. And then there is this MMLU, which is defined here. It's a reasoning benchmark, which measures what is the capability or thinking capacity. If you see a human expert is sitting at a score of 89.8, and if you see from pre-2022 to see, and you can filter out by any company that you particularly follow. So if I just talk about maybe OpenAI here, because that's been the most relevant one. If you see GPT-3, GPT-4, GPT-4, now O1, and O1 is what we were discussing, right? It has gone just above the human expert level, right? And if you look at in general where Google was, where it was losing the race versus where it is right now, if you see, it's not as close to what GPT is offering, right? The AGI. And there is some concepts, I don't know how many of you follow what's happening in um, China and what's happening in those markets, but if you follow DeepSeek, they are also doing some fantastic work there. There is Bloomberg GPT, which became very popular for financial analysis, and a lot of tools are still going there. There is another one which is Claude for enterprise commercial, which is getting huge traction. 3.5 sonnet, it comes very, very, very close to this. And of course, what goes inside these models, how are they trained, how do we measure their efficiency, what are the metrics, how much value is there in their hallucination, is a lot of theory, and which we cover in part of our cohort, and today also we'll try to cover that. But this diagram at a very high level is to show you that okay, this is where we are in terms of the growth of these models. And if you see, just keeping on Chinese one, you can see these are the Chinese models, and there is also the size of them, right? If you see the size of parameters that they are trained on, right? 175 billion threshold, and see the current one, which is Claude 3, or if you see the GPT one, right? And this is a brilliant interpretation for you to realize just in the 4 years of post-pandemic world, where did we start, right? And where have we gotten to? And there are also filters of open access versus uh, publicly available versus through API exposed, right? So if you see the triangular ones, these are openly available, which are open source, and that is how Meta is operating in this domain. They are operating with this concept of LCM rather than LLMs, and we try to cover that as well. What's the difference between the two? How do you understand the underlying research thesis, and how these are different for what WhatsApp is having, what Instagram is having, what Facebook is, or the Facebook product is having, versus what ChatGPT and those products are having. This is just for you to empathize and resonate better that it's evolving at such a fast pace, right? And we have to be cognizant of that for us to be relevant. Now, if I okay, let me take over the presentation. Mm, let's go back to the presentation just to, uh, are you able to see the presentation screen?
Yes, yes, Arun.
Fantastic. So we have definitely come ahead of Moore's law. There'll be a new definition of laws that will come in to define how quickly is this escalating. But as I said, with great responsibility comes, with great power comes great responsibility, right? Just see at the surface when we define AGI, we think it will do your homework, it will make you more productive, it will generate realistic images. What is below the surface that we are not able to gauge? And we have attached some of the screenshots of what went wrong and what were the penalties like in the recent years because of these AIs, right? There is bias to against black patients. There are companies like Air Canada who are paying for damages because they ended up relying on these bots, right? There are false claims and there is hallucination to that effect where it is giving false information, right? Adopting a product for your fast food chain like McDonald's and then getting to the burners where your customer having pathetic drive-through experience, you're shutting shop, and this is as recent as June 2024, right? For you or for me or for anyone who's saying that I am an AI evangelist, if I am really talking about AI, it is very important to be cynical. It's okay to be sort of fearful also, because there is great amount of progress that's happening. The speed is fantastic. The tools are really amazing. It almost seems like magic that very few people understand. And with both of these, right, the greatest of power and the greatest of potential of exploiting it, I think for PMs, again, the three components are very important. The first component, learning how this is working. It should not be a black box for you. At least if you tout yourself to be a PM who's working on AI in general, you should understand how these systems work. What is the theory underlying it? How can you validate the certificate rate of, how can you validate certification of the quality of it? What are the metrics that you are looking um, to validate if it is hallucinating or if the product is right? And when do you pull the kill switch? When do you say that this product is not working fine for me, right? We want to start off, and I just wanted to spend the initial 15-20 minutes in grounding this 200 member audience in the fact that, hey, this can go both the ways. It's very important that we look both one and two, right? So okay, let's go ahead and actually start thinking of your journey into Gen AI, right? uh, as I said, if I look at the concepts or if I look at the theory, every concept in itself can be very domain heavy. Like if I talk about the theory of LLMs, how are they getting data? Where are they getting data from? How are they storing data? What are these vector databases? What is fine tuning? What is prompt engineering, right? If I just look at prompt engineering, and let me zoom in this a bit, there are so many concepts within prompt engineering, which is zero shot, multi shot, prompt chaining, chain of thought, tree of thoughts, reflection. These are multiple ways where a PM can just inside prompt engineering get themselves as experts and improve their productivity. We'll be talking about some of them, but to give you an understanding, and if you just become someone who's specialized in pre-training, today, if you go and look at careers of OpenAI, Claude, Perplexity, the roles that they are hiring for almost 200 to 50K is prompt engineer or librarian, right? Or pre-trained expert, pre-training expert. These are roles which are specific to every part of these models or um, components that enable the entire AI ecosystem. We are again not going into the technical details because it will be too terse. People who really want to get into each topic, learn the theory of it, and then apply the application of it, uh, definitely subscribe to the course. We do that first theory and then the tools and then the application. Today, the idea is for us to give you maximum value as product managers to get started and start getting real value out of things, not getting depth, but using some tools and showing proof of concept and starting your AI journey. So we have taken this shamelessly from Growth School. Akash Gupta, of those of you who follow, he has given a fantastic outline of where a PM can start their roadmap from becoming a PM to an AI PM, like, or an artificial intelligence PM. And I love the seven common mistakes that people are doing. We will try to today focus on solve for the first one. Of course, we'll give you a certificate for this workshop. We will remove your code phobia, because a lot of PMs come with this thing that, hey, do I need to write the code, or do I need to really get my hands dirty with Python and all of that to even get started? Today we'll demo a tool to you where you can build the entire prototype. It will write your code, it will do the bug testing, it will do your deployment without you writing even single line of code, right? There is this portfolio procrastinator syndrome where you don't get started on building something of your own. So we want to give you some tools where you have a solid proof of concept that you can showcase. We want you to take you there. Then the most important one, and we'll probably start with that, is what are the interviews that are being asked, or what is my resume supposed to look like, and how am I supposed to become good as a PM in AI, right? So we'll start with that, and we will cover each of these as I go through the session. We'll try to cover each of these, but let's start with prompt engineering, because a hunch is that most of you have already writing some prompts, right? And at some level you are already using these tools, right? So we will try to see how efficient or how well can you be with your prompt engineering in general, right? I'll start with a very basic simple case. And I see a lot of otter AIs out there, right? Those of you have been ordering this for the last 25 minutes, if you can try to pause your transcripting and just try to download that transcript and just follow along with me, you'll see the power of prompting, right? We will not be sharing the prompt because it is proprietary information of product space. We'll not be able to share that, but we will show you how powerful we are getting with the entire interviewing experience, right? So I'll quickly stop sharing this one and I'll go to Claude, right? And I will also ping the link in the chat so that you can try along with me. If you have not already signed up, are you able to see the Claude screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Arun.
Okay, very simple, very high level. This is the first prototype that you can build, and you can start grooming yourself, right? You practice interviews, you record yourself with otters. All of you are doing that. So it's very simple that you're already doing the first part of it. Once you are done, the immediate concern that most of us have is, I got interviewed at this company, I did not get a feedback, or I did not know um, what exactly went wrong or what exactly went right, right? Or how can I improve? And in especially in space of AI, what are the concepts that I should be focusing more on? Where am I lacking, right? To give you that, we are just done, because we did not have time today to do it live. We have a transcript. Let me just, can you read this transcript and let me know what it is about? Okay, let me just add the transcript, which, and this is again Otter. So all of you who are using Otter can definitely go ahead and attach your own transcripts of this session so far, right? I have attached this, and limit your response to 200 words. Make it in 3 parts. What is it about? Takeaways and next steps. This is a very simple prompt, right? Now we have integrated this with the Claude API in the backend, and we'll run the other prompt also, right? If you just read through this, and this is just a 200 word response so that we can all consume it together, right? So this transcript is about a root cause analysis interview discussion about 10% increase in cancellation of rides in Uber in India, right? The idea was for the interview to go through the potential causes, eventually discover that Ola or competitor is detecting when Uber drivers are en route to pickups and showing them a better ride opportunities. What are the key takeaways? What are the next steps? Now, this is vanilla prompting. This is a very simple prompt that I written in front of you, and all of you might be doing this, right? Without exposing the prompt to you, or without really revealing what is underlying. And this is again trimmed down version of what exactly we have. This is not for the AI. I'll just add this other prompt that we have, and I will say create a PDF that I can share with the candidate. It's again the trimmed down version. I've asked it some specific things, right? This is the executive summary, skills evaluated, key learning points of the student, interview question, right? Interview feedback, what was positive, what are areas of improvement, analysis of candidate structure, and it is talking about each thing: problem understanding, system changes, external factor, solutions, pain points, proposed solution, metric proposed, right? Key strengths and weaknesses, recommendations for improvement. Now we are launching this very soon as well on product space. You are practicing for an AI interview. With the AI would interview you, and it will share a PDF with you right after the interview. Let me just open that PDF and flash it quickly. Are you able to see the PDF?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
This is
Yes.
exactly what we did in the interview. It has the entire transcript and it has your um, pain points, research metrics, and your final score of the interview, how you did, what were your pain points, what were your solutions. Only purely on improving your skills on prompt engineering or prompt writing. As I told, there are 15 components that we covered for advanced prompting inside the cohort, but right now we only added the 4 parts, which is task, context, persona, example. And with that, we were able to generate this. Now we have entirely eliminated scenario of our scenario of writing feedback for students, evaluating them, and then putting them. And same are the prompts that we have done for resume review, for calculating the ATS score, for calculating the competencies of a PM. Right inside the cohort, we do share that. You can start running that on any of these system, be it Grok, be it DeepSeek, be it Claude, be it Perplexity, be it ChatGPT. Run them through multiple tools, generate these multiple PDFs, and you'll be good to get started at least on the preparation part of it. Right now, coming back to the second use case. Right, let me share my screen again. Drafting PRD, and this is again why I'm running through this is we are just showing you the importance of writing good prompts, right? And with good prompts, you are able to create fantastic value. If you are working as a PM, can any one of you come up and I see there are a lot of senior PMs, principal PMs, and APMs as well. If you can just give me a feature that you want to build, right? And with that feature, what is the name of your product? A popular product, maybe, which is more commonly known. If you can just give that to me, we'll try to give you the second use case where we have automated this entire chat PID as a concept, and it can generate a concept note in like 2 minutes for you with all the necessary details. Any use case that you would want to share?
Folks, you can raise your hand as well. If
Yep. Anyone who just wants to practice or want to write a PID on any product or feature?
we have Pushkar.
Go ahead.
Hey, Pushkar, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, I worked as a product manager in my previous company. There, they build a online and offline POS and e-commerce website for the Egypt market.
Okay.
Yeah, so they want to build a proper online and offline POS, and where they want to develop AI for the account part, and they want to use AI also in their e-commerce website also.
Okay, this I am not sure how many of them would be able to relate because it's a very specific use case and we don't know how your account relations are, right? And what exactly you would want to build on an AI on the e-commerce part. Is this product discovery? Is this conversion rate? What exactly are you looking for?
Yeah, actually, for the account part, actually, they are working for the small retailer. They are build that product for the small retailers, not for
Okay,
the. They are not using Amazon or Noon. That's why they develop for them. And so there is a small product they are selling in their shops. So that's why they want to recognize the selling part, profit and loss part of that, for that. And for the e-commerce, they want to tell the retailers ki how many made how much area they cover for the selling through their e-commerce website.
got it, got it. Okay, so let me quickly write this, and now I'm using another tool because we want to expose you to multiple. This one is, I think, Elon Musk's brainchild, which is Grok, right? So we will try to also expose you to that. Let me just, you'll one of you would need to let me know when you're able to see the Grok tool, right? So this is Grok, right? And again, I'll just, are you able to see Grok? This is access version of AI, previously known as Twitter. Are you able to see it?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
I'll just give
Yes.
my,
Yeah, able to see. Yeah.
we have written a proprietary prompt to generate PRDs. As I'm just training this on this. We have given this prompt. It is analyzing this prompt. It's saying, okay, I am ready to write a PRD. Just give me the context of, can you please share the notes so that I can start drafting the PRD on this template? Okay. I am working as a e-commerce player in Southeast Asia, I enable local retailers who are small and medium in size to sell their products at a commission, write a PRD to create feature which shows one is the products sold, the area covered by seller, see their margins and profits with the platform for visualization of their monthly finances, right? Let me just hit enter. And this is the power of having good prompts with you. It's searching whatever it is. Who is the customer? What's the problem? How do we know about the problem? What is the output goal? It has given a reasonable goal, increase seller retention by 15% within 6 months. What are the input metrics that you should be tracking? What is high level overview of this? What are your P0, P1 for each of the feature basic dashboard? What is P0, P1, right? What is the launch plan stage rolled out? What is the success criteria? What is eligibility, test, control, ramp up? Done. At least I have my PID to start off with. As a PM, I'm effective just with a basic proprietary prompt that I've written for myself. And this is a skill in itself. It does not come overnight, right? It is something that you learn and we have iterated over for the last 4 months to come up with this prompt, which we are giving it to our cohort members. Just get started with your PRD writing. You might be applying to multiple companies. Whenever you apply to a company, first thing that they ask you is, hey, can you give us this assignment? Right? If you have such a prompt handy with you, you can just quickly run through that prompt, give the name and the task that company has given to you, and you are ready with your submission. Right? So this is the power of prompt engineering itself. Now, if we move ahead, right, there are so many key concepts. And if you see, we have taken this concept of another influencer, Marlena Nika, how as you are in different stages of your PM journey, there'll be different paths that you will need to cover, from execution, monitoring, managing the OKRs. The metrics that you have traditional PMs are very different. Trust me, you might not have read about rogue metrics, but rogue metrics are the ones which are applicable for all generative AI products, right? So managing, deploying and execution at a PM, SPM, APM level is very different. Vision, leading the growth, the strategy is very different. We have given some example projects as well here, right? When you think of AI, it is not just about how do you use the tools that are out there. As you get into the principal and product level beyond, you have to also define a vision of these, and that is where these studios like Google Gemini Studio or Meta Studios come handy. What tools are they building? How are they defining their strategy? We'll cover some of that, but I wanted to tell you it is much more than prompt engineering. Of course, prompt engineering is effective, but let's go to the next round of tools where we will actually tackle these problems of code phobia. I don't want to write code, right? I have imposter syndrome. I can talk about AI. I can do certification for Google, Microsoft, Pendo, Maven, blah, blah, blah. I will have 10 certificates on my LinkedIn. But when I start talking about working or a tool or where I've actually built something, there is nothing, right? I don't have something to show as my proof of concept, right? And then there is of course procrastinator syndrome, where and this is where I was also personally stuck at. I kept reading LLMs, I kept reading white papers, I kept reading agentic AI, till you actually start building and you actually start getting your hands dirty, where you start evaluating, okay, I'm okay to get the premium model, I don't want to write code, but I really want to test out these waters, right? So we'll try to tackle that now, and this is where I think we are trying to address the elephant in the room, which is the most important one. Let's start designing a prototype, right? Prototyping till now was Figma, whimsical, and all these. Even some people use PowerPoint or paper hand drawings, but were all 2D. We were not able to make them interactive. We were not able to make them real interactional products. You are not able to send prototypes to company in an interactive fashion, full-fledged websites or apps. In the next 20 minutes, we'll make a full-fledged prototype, right? Again, I will want someone to come up and share if they have any problem statement that should be working on. Anyone who has any problem that we can tackle to create a prototype.
I
Let's
think we
just,
have
yeah,
Dia who raised hand first. Yeah,
go
Dia,
ahead.
go ahead. You can unmute yourself.
Yeah, so I feel like whenever as a PM I attend, workshops like this one or others, it gets very difficult for me to keep continuing my learning journey. So probably having like a prototype version of a tool or a website that can help me with my continued learning after that.
Got it. Okay, we'll try to do that. So, okay, let me stop sharing and let me share the third tool, which is I think the most powerful one, which is bold.neo. Are you able to see my screen, bold.neo?
Yes.
Okay.
No,
So the problem here is I am conducting a yeah,
Yeah, okay.
workshop for AI for product managers. We want to create a page which can share learning resources and tools, which can share learning resources and maybe research papers after the workshop, so that the students can continue to learn AI for PMs. Can you help me create a landing page for the same? Okay. Dia, does this capture your problem statement?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, fantastic. So I am conducting this workshop for AI for product managers. We want to create a page which can share learning resources and research paper after the workshop so that the students can continue to learn AI for PMs. Can you help me create a landing page? Embrace yourselves, brace yourselves, wait for the winters. We are not writing any code. I have not written any code so far. I'll just hit this, right? And it is doing its magic. It is writing the code. As you can see on the side, it is creating your index.astro file so that it can do the mapping where is what. It will also go ahead and create your connections to package station. You can see the npm server is also getting deployed here. It is creating your html file. It is defining the body, individual components, styles. I'm not writing any of this code. It is all doing by itself, right? Now if you see, it is saying that I have these resources, title, brief, description, link to the source, and I have created this page. So it has given me 1, 2, 3, 4 tiles, generative AI for this research papers, and it has already created something for me, right? Let me, but these are too many. Let's just keep it to probably 2 cards. One is reading material. I'll just connect the database. It is also giving you, if you want to create a database and store personalized experiences, right? So I think these are too many cards. I don't want Dia to be confused. Let me iteratively just try to, can you limit the number of cards to 2 with below titles? One is, let's say, reading material from product space, and two is open research papers. Okay, let's see if 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, it can reduce it to maybe 2 cards. It is running it. Now generally one, it has updated. Okay, reading material from product space and open research papers. Fantastic. It has just reduced it to 2 tiles now. So I know it is more or less um, creating what I wanted it to be. But I don't want to give away cards to all the, I don't want to give the reading materials to all the 214 of you. So can you lock these cards for me One, to unlock, student will need to fill a feedback form, and two, when they fill the feedback form, they should be asked for their email ID, star rating on the feedback, and a open text feedback form. We really want to hear you out. We want to see who all of you are passionate, how many of you will actually go to this page and download the resources that we share, and of course, if you have any feedback, how can we make these workshops better in the future. And that's why we are just trying to lock these cards. Right now, if you see, I can just click and open these cards. Let me see if okay, it's now creating those components of feedback card, right? And if you see, it is creating form which requires field radio button for stars. It is creating a form where you can give submit feedback, right? It is creating components for that. It is also giving it style and theme of it. And if you see, it has defined the components outline of those cards. Each card also has a resource link. When you open it, where should it redirect you to, right? It is now creating that import of card where card will be logged, and it is saying access comprehensive learning materials and guides curated for product managers in the AI space. And it has created the prototype, and see, it has logged the cards. If I will just quickly share my entire screen so that now if I try to click on this, see, it is asking me email address, it is asking me the rating card, and it is asking your feedback. But I don't know how many of you have gone before this and seen the product space. We don't want this to be the theme of product space website, right? We want it to be relevant to what we have. So let me just product space dot in. Let me, this is our website. So this is the theme that we want. We want it to be light blue and black. So I'll just copy paste this, and I will also ask, uh, can you create the theme of this landing page similar to the theme on this URL? And I will also tell it, do not execute the task. First, confirm with me what you understood from above URL, above prompt, and then execute. Let's see what it does now. So I don't like black and this light purple, right? We are someone who are operating with white and blue, and we love our colors. So we would want this to generate it in the fashion that we have. Now, if you will see, it will write the code and it will actually change your CSS files. For those who know coding, they will understand that it is changing the templates of it, right? So it is saying, okay, background color will go from dark to white, text colors will go from white to dark, card styles will match clean and minimal design, and okay, this sounds good. Sounds good. Please execute these changes. Let's see. So it is changing the layout. Now it is changing the index file, how, where does it need to refer it from, and it will change the CSS file, and it has changed the font size. For the cards also, it is changing the template in the format that product space needs its outlet to be. Okay, it has also changes the color to white, border radius is also changed, it has made those circular as we have in our tool, right? It has changed, these files are updated, and it is now deploying these files to reflect your new layout. Let's see what it comes up with. And then model content, okay, see, it has gone from what color we initially gave it to this color, right? And I can see the text on these cards is light. So can you make the text color on the cards dark? It is not visible. Let me see. And why I'm typing this is it should not forget to ask me what exactly it is changing, so that I can confirm. Remove the opacity, make the body text darker, change it from this to this, and keep the title and visual hierarchy. Proceed with the changes. Let's see. Okay, we also want to make it proprietary, so let's add. It has changed the background, but it has not been able to make the color so far more readable. So let us add the product space logo to this page. Can you please use the image that I am attaching to make to this attaching? Let me attach the image. It's in downloads, product space workshop, product space logo. Okay. Also use this to redefine the theme of the page and color scheme. Let's see how much it is able to generate for us. Now I've given it the exact colors with the image. The product space logo, landing page, black, adjusting the overall scheme to match for brand identity, ensuring logo is prominently displayed on the top of the page. Looks good. Please proceed. So it has taken the constants. It is again changing the layouts. I think it is changing the colors, light and dark. These changes are being made here. And you can exactly click on each of these links and see. See, it picked the color. It has added the logo and it has given exact color that product space has, right? And of course, we will keep refining it, but we should also be adding the links that are there for this, right? So let me give me a second. I will just share this one. Okay, let me share the link. Attach the link. Okay, so now I will say in the card, please attach the link below for the students to download. Let's see if it can attach that link to the card. And again, please do not execute. Confirm with me. Let me write in both the cards for now. In both the cards, please do not execute. Confirm with me what is your understanding, and then execute. Understanding of the prompt. And this is again, as I said, just to make sure that it is not doing something. We have done a lot of prompts. We have done 7-8 prompts, right? We don't want to lose the context of previous one. We want to make sure it is getting. Okay, I understand you want to update both the card links to this Google Sheets document. Both cards should maintain their current title description, but when clicked should rewrite. Yes, that is correct. That is correct. Please execute. Let's see. Okay, so it is now, if you see image SRC is being updated, the source, and then it is also giving the URL list. Where you click, it has added this URL, if you can see this, right? And if I click unlock, if I add my email address, star rating, and if I give good session, okay, and if I see submit feedback, now this card has opened, reading material, and if I click on this, it is taking me to that URL, but its Google Doc is not connected, so it is probably not able to get me here. But let's try to deploy this. I think our website is at a very high level ready. Let me just try to deploy this. I've clicked on deploy. I can just type it here as well, deploy. So it is building the application and it is deploying, right? It is using Netlify to host the URL, and then it will start my application. Okay, so it has given me Tiny Malabi. Let's share this in the chat for everyone. And if you can go ahead and see if it is working fine for you or not. All of you, can you try opening this? I will also share my screen and I will probably open the entire URL, share my screen. So if I go to this one, it is asking for feedback. I can enter the email. I can do 5 stars, great session, right? Let me just say submit feedback. Then I click on this and it is opening the content for me, right? Fantastic. So I think we have um, PS logo. We can modify that. We can go back and okay. Let me stop sharing this and we can go back to the okay. Yes, you can choose the tech stack. Now we will, I think at a very high level, you have all, so we will not be sharing this, Rameshri. This is just for us to show you how quickly you can do prototyping without actually writing the code, to give you the power of the tool, to give you what exactly we teach in the cohort and at what level we are enabling you to create real life applications, right? That is what entails in the cohort. um, we just wanted to give you a demo. This is just the surface level thing, right? We are not going anywhere inside this. This is not the application. This link was not to get the resources. I will modify this. We will actually give you the right resources, and with those right resources you will be able to download the content, and we will be sharing that content. As I said, we don't want everyone or anyone to be available. We just want people who are serious and really want to follow up, to really share their email ID, share the feedback with us, and then we will share the resources. We will give prompts, we will give the guides, we will give handaways, takeaways for the session with that link, which I'll be sharing probably by end of this session. But for now, was this interesting? Did you get something to learn? And also, any questions so far? You can raise your hands, and I think now we will have the pro or master of uh, image creation, or generally the one of the biggest evangelists in India for AI, Rumit. He is SVP at Glance. As I said, they are doing fantastic groundbreaking work. He has been one of the early speakers at most of these AI forums as well, and he has great value. We'll be inviting him to show you another layer or another power of image creation in itself, right? uh, okay.
Right. So, folks, if you might not have heard us for the last 2, 3 times, so we have Rumit here. He heads Gen AI products at Glance, and he will be talking you through what are the proper applications also that is happening from an Indian-based AI first company as well. So, Rumit, over to you.
Thanks, Sakshi. Thanks. Okay, I'm just looking at um number of people. Predominantly worked up with a lot of startups. I've worked with Republic TV. I don't know if you guys know of that. I was like the founding member of Republic TV, setting up their entire digital framework, their products, and web app, yada yada yada. Worked with Arnav very closely in getting the digital footprint that he wanted to. He wanted a video face based product. I worked with this company called Fame, which was a 0 to 1 product, a live streaming product when it started off. I've I'd like to claim that I worked with some stellar teams, some weak teams, built them into stellar teams. Right now we are a bunch of product managers at Glance. I'm heading so-called generative AI. Currently, we were working on an image-based solution. Now we've kind of moved into agentic AI because hey, everyone's moving into that. Um, so I'm going to quickly cover some basics, but I'm not going to take you through a presentation if that's okay, guys. I think I've done so many presentations in life that now I feel that I've got to stop somewhere, and I think it doesn't allow us to connect as people, right? Um, but really, I want to kind of I'm not the guy who's going to take you through tools, and I'm pretty sure Arun has done a brilliant job there. I really wanted to spend time in making sure that you guys actually understand what is really happening in the background, what's really happening, or what is an LLM, right? We all say that we know how to use ChatGPT, and sometimes we also get, in the early stages when we started using GPT and Claude and so on and so forth, we said we are AI PMs and we got really happy. Um, but then soon we also realized that, hey, we actually don't understand the fundamentals. We are not able to really make out between a Claude or a GPT and why are they foundationally different. We know that they're foundationally different in terms of they're developed by two different teams and have different. Oh yeah, we can, Yogesh. We'll discuss that, guys. You can always raise your hands and I can ask you. I can let you speak. We can keep this like that. I'm not really worried about it being how do I put it? Structured per se. We'll try to keep it fluid. We'll try to keep it as open as possible. Okay. But let's start. Okay. There's a couple of things that I want you guys to kind of make a note of. And this is the first statement that I actually want you guys to make a note of, right? In Jan 2024, there's this company called Beta Volt. It's a Chinese startup that announced the development of a nuclear battery that can generate electricity for up to 50 years without recharging. Now, I actually want you guys to remember this because this is something that we will connect back to later on. But this is the most important statement that I will make today in this session. That in Jan 2024, there was this company called Beta Volt. It was a Chinese startup. They actually were able to figure out nuclear energy. Using nuclear energy, they were able to keep a battery charged for 50 years. Now, keep that in your mind, park it somewhere. We'll come to it later. With me so far? Yes, no, maybe a thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yes.
Brilliant. Okay. Brilliant. Guys, we got to keep this interactive. I'm going to ask an open question to everyone. Let me know if you guys know the answer. What is an LLM? We've been talking about it like for the last 2 hours, and I'm sure that you guys have heard of it enough number of times. Can you just raise your hands and one person tell me what is an LLM? Tanmay, you want to go for it?
Yeah. Hello.
Yes, go for it. We can hear you. Now we can.
Yeah. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. So yeah, I think in my opinion, what I got to know like regarding, and I have read the things, and I'm working in some areas with some digital products also in my company.
Mhm.
So in my opinion, what actually LLM does it mean? So we all know the full form, right? It's like large language model. But what does it actually means actually? It's like I would say that it's a it's an amalgamation of what I can say, the NLP architectures and the like so many people use so many architectures. But let's say for if we say with Chat GPT or
Just a simple answer, man. I'm not looking for a technical explanation. Just a simple answer.
okay. So simple answer is like it will like let's say if we go with the simple answer, it will there are some large amount of data, language data that is there. On top of that, we have trained certain kind of prompts or certain kind of like language models. Based on that, if we ask certain things, it will respond to us based on its
Let's
previous architecture.
yes, Tanmay. Yes, you're right, but it's very the way you said it's very complex. Let's just kind of dumb it down for us, for all of us, right? A smart computer that understands human language and reply in the same way, no, it's actually not even that. Okay, trained AI model trained on large text data to understand and interpret human language, no. Simple answer, it can generate human-like conversation, no. Well, yes and no. I mean, this is what it is doing, but what is the LLM's primary job, or what is it what is it really doing? Then what is okay? What is yes? Yeah, see, you guys are giving all the right answers, but maybe I'm going to try to dumb it down a little more. Find correlations. Yes, it does that.
Predicting the next
wait,
word.
wait. Who's that?
Asima.
Ashima, you knew the answer. Okay. It just does this, guys. It just predicts the next word. Don't complicate your life. It is actually dumb. It is actually unintelligent. Actually, it is unimaginative. It is just going to predict the next word. That's it. Like, so if anyone tells you anything like blah architecture, this, that, all that, it's simple. So I'll tell you why I say this is simple. Because this technology existed, guys. It's not that it did not exist. I don't know if I'm pretty sure there are Android users here. When you're writing text on your when you say writing text to your wife or to your girlfriend or to your boyfriend, as a matter of fact, um, when you're typing, it actually auto completes and tells you the next word, right? What it was called? It was called Android autocomplete or something. Auto suggest. Yes, thank you, Sushmit. It is called auto suggest, right? That was on your device. It was, the product was this, that it was trained for a conversation between you and that other person, and you were able to
वो सब पे आते नहीं है कहाँ हो तो वो आता है पुलिस में
कोई गल नहीं सुरेश, मतलब got you. कोई कौन नहीं आ रहा है? Okay.
Sorry about that.
No problem, no problem. So essentially it is, guys, I don't want this to be a formal session. This is a very casual session. I will try to impart as much as I can. If anyone tells you that they know completely all about AI, and end to end all of that, they're bullshitting you. It's like the ever evolving space. So whatever I know, I'm going to kind of put it out to you folks. Have of course studied a lot in the last 2 years, but nevertheless, so coming back to that, auto suggest, very simple, right? It just predicts the next word. But why did that product not really work? Because first, it wasn't client. Second, it was just between two users. So when user one and user two are talking, it actually just learned the conversation between the two users, and it was able to predict the next word that you're writing. Now, it sounds a very good feature, but that's the genesis of what the LLM is. So let me put it to you this way. An LLM's job is just to predict the next word. Yeah, like quantum physics. I agree. I completely agree. Now, while I say it's unintelligent, it's unimaginative, there are some questions that come to your head, right? Like, will it
Okay.
replace humans? Yes. Go ahead, someone.
Just to interrupt you, yeah. Actually, it's the way of working of that what we have earlier.
Yes.
Like you told that it's the genesis of.
We lost you, man. LLM equal to auto suggested steroids. I love
Yeah.
that, Lalit. Thank you. Sorry, hey man, you can't speak out of turn. You gotta raise your hand, and then this, let's try to make it easy for everyone. Whoever that person was, who was it? Raise your hand, and I'll kind of. And there are a lot of people who've raised their hands. Are you guys really raising your hands, or is this like from the previous session? Saurabh, Kshitij, Shreyas, Kirtika. Yes. Okay. Yes,
Yeah,
someone
Rumit.
was talking. Who was that? Can you just say yes on the
I
chat?
was I was talking actually. Somebody removed me. I don't know.
Hey, it
Yeah,
wasn't me. Okay. Okay,
I
go for it.
don't know. Whatever.
Ah,
So what I was asking, like, actually, I was telling the auto suggest feature, which was earlier there, with I think Android, and also there are certain prompts also in Linux versions are also there. So what but the working is a bit different, like that what you are telling that
absolutely.
LLMs are,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. So yeah.
Absolutely. The how is very different. I'm
Mm,
giving you an analogy
mhm.
of the genesis of the thought.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That
that is correct. Like how it got generated, but
thank you. Thank you for
as
your
per the yeah, working and every inner thing is very different.
yes, yes, absolutely it is. It is like saying a mobile and a computer are different. Yes, they are. I mean, if that's what you're pointing out. Sure. Can we move on? Okay. So a lot of questions I was seeing in the chat was, will it replace humans? Will it replace human jobs? Am I in danger as a PM, SPM? So let me give you an analogy. There was this friend of mine whose uncle was working in this company called Mahindra and Mahindra. I'm sure you guys know that. He was in the chassis fitting department where there's the car comes in and then his job is to kind of put the chassis on it, and then it goes to the next level. He did that for like 10 years. Oh, you're from Mahindra, very nice. Okay, I won't tell you that uncle's name, okay, because he got fired. Um, so basically he did that for 15 years. Okay, 10 to 15 years. That's all he did, right? And so if you are that kind of a guy who is going to sit down, or that kind of girl who's going to sit down and just worry about um how do I put it? The work that is given to you, if you're doing tasks, then you'll be replaced. If you're using your brains and you're able to actually think from a first principles perspective and actually use these tools as methods for you to be successful, you're not going to go obsolete, right? Will AI replace humans? That's a very Ethiopian thought. Possible, not possible. I'll explain why it is not possible. We've been talking about AGI. Why Sam Altman and all of these guys in the world? So there was this one conference where I'd met him, and and we actually had a very decent conversation in which he said that, hey, the context layer really needs to be thought about, because the entire time we've been talking about the inferencing layer and not the context layer. So we'll talk about that as well, as to how and why is AGI right now a little bit difficult compared to what it was earlier, or at least in the first sets of versions. But will it replace humans? Not really. I mean, it's not going to replace humans. Every new technological advancement is looked upon like that. When the industrial revolution happened, we said, machines will replace humans. That really doesn't happen per se. We learn to adapt. We learn to figure out ways of working. So I'm pretty sure we will find our way with this. But will we become smarter? um, will we be able to explore newer and newer territories? Will we be able to do things that we were not able to do? Absolutely. We are moving in that area where computing, quantum physics, all of these things. Like, for example, the other day, I don't know whether you guys know this or not, but Neuralink, the first patient for Neuralink came out, where there is an actual transfer of data from the brain to an actual computer, and they're currently transferring it at, I think, a 64 kbps, right? Just imagine that moves to a 10 Gbps. That means you're like superhuman, right? That kind of information. So that's what's happening in the world. So there's these big honchos that are working on it. But anyways, um, let's talk about an LLM. I mean, I think there are, and I want to break this down, guys. I'm oversimplifying, so there's a lot that is there in the background. Like, I think Tanmay was trying to actually explain that in some form or the other, but I'm kind of going to dumb it down in for you, for us to have a common understanding of what we're really doing. So, what is an LLM? The LLM, it's very simple. It predicts the next word. That's what it's supposed to do. Um, the one by the one by the beach. Okay, Himanshu. Um, yes. Yes, absolutely, Tejas. It will be able to allow you to do that. But okay, coming back to this, right? LLM, and this is where I want you guys to write this down if you can. Uh, Very simple information. An LLM has four very important blocks, and laying it out for the layman: parameters, context window, tokens, and inferencing. I'll repeat it. And if maybe one of you can write it down and pin it, and I'll be more than happy. It is parameters, context window, tokens, inferencing, right? Um, did you guys get that? Yes, no, maybe? We'll go deep. Yeah, parameters, context window, tokens, inferencing. Perfect. Thank you, Andre. Perfect. Okay. Now, what are parameters? I don't know whether you guys have heard this or not. Like when GPT had launched, it said that there are I think what 100 and GPT-1 launched with I think 120 odd million parameters, 117 to 120 odd million parameters. Then GPT-2 came, said I'm going to launch 1.2, 1.5 billion parameters. GPT-3 said that I'll do 175 billion parameters. GPT-4 is now at 1.76 trillion parameters, right? So a lot of parameters that they're throwing around, but we really don't know what they are. So let's try to study and double click on that. You guys okay with that? Should we? Should we not? Yeah, no. Yes, no. Yes, okay, okay. Okay, and guys, you can always tell me I'm going too fast or slow. I'm happy to repeat. Okay, great. Okay, great. We'll double click on parameters. Okay. So what do you mean? Someone was saying that it takes large language models and this and that and kind of ingests a lot of content, right? Uh, there are 600,000 words according to the Oxford Dictionary. For a computer to learn 600,000 words, super easy, no? Right? I mean, that's how I will think of it. But it's actually not that. That's not how a computer can learn words. There is a concept of neural network, which we will touch upon, where there is a hidden layer, and then there is an input layer, and then there is a hidden layer, and there is an output layer. We'll talk about that as well. But I want to double click on the fact that what these guys did is that they scraped the internet and they downloaded every piece of textual conversation that is happening on the internet, whether it is via chats that are openly available, whether it is via articles that are there from the internet, New York Times, all of these guys have started, what do you say, suing these fellows. But they downloaded everything under the sun, right? And what they did is they said, okay, fine, we have all of this data that is coming. Now, what do we need to do? Right? How do we make sure that this data starts making sense? So they came up with, they said that it's very simple for a traditional ML guy. Will say there are weights and there are biases. These are two concepts. What are weights? What are biases? We'll talk about it. But um, yes, Kushal, yes, and that's right. But I'm just trying to double click on weights and biases as to what really weights are, what are biases. Now, what is weights? It basically the input data. When you're putting in input data, you are essentially giving it a weight to say this is of high weightage. So, for example, let me give you an analogy, right? When you say Apple, now Apple could be either the company Apple or it could be an actual Apple, right? Now, look at the probabilities when you have to predict the next word, right? So what parameters does is it basically gives in a sentence, it will, or I'd rather say what weights do is in a sentence, you're able to actually give certain weightages to certain words or phrases. As simple as that. Biases are basically to say fine tune the output. So weights work at the input layer, biases work at the output layer, right? So weights is essentially to say the input data in itself is computed in a manner that gives you these weights that are there for so because they've ingested all of these features and they've gone through a neural network, there is some kind of deep learning that is happening and there is some relationship data that is being created. When that relationship data is created, there is weights that are assigned to these relationship data. So for example, if you say I'm walking in the park and have an apple, there's an apple falling from the, of course, tree, right? It will not say from the operating system, correct? Now, this is relationship data that it has created. So weights actually help us do that. Biases are fine tuning. So if I have to give an analogy, let's say you're making a cup of tea, and the perfect taste depends on two things, right? How much of each ingredient did you add, and a final tweak on the flavor, like a pinch of sugar or salt or ginger or whatever, right? So weights are actually equivalent to about determining how much milk, how much tea leaves, how much water did you add. Biases ensures that everything is measured properly and you can kind of tweak sweetness to the right amount. Fair understanding? Yes, no, maybe. These are very important aspects of an LLM, guys. This is where how you train a model, actually, how it does. So ingest all of the data for sure, but weights and biases, weights at the input layer, biases out the output layer, they keep tweaking, right? Now, I can repeat again, Mohammed, no problem. Very simple. A model needs to be trained. The first thing for the model to be trained, no problem, I'll explain it, Suresh, don't worry. Um, Everyone knows that a model needs to be trained. An AI ML system needs to be trained. Yes, no, maybe. Okay, great. Now, what does it require? Why, as in Zanisha? Why? Because we wanted to make AI. I'm not sure what's that question. Okay. Um, Great. So a model that needs to be trained is because we want to predict the next word. That was the objective. So we trained a model. For that, we downloaded every piece of information from the internet, every article that is publicly available. And there's a lot of chatter about that being legal, non-legal. I am not going to um, get into oh yeah, she means yes, sorry. My bad. Um, no, does not necessarily mean that any private data has gone, but today in the digital world, we don't know what's public, what's private. I mean, I don't know whether you know that your Google Photos account is public or private. So it's that scary. That level of information, sorry, I'm getting a call. That level of information has been downloaded from the internet. So first we got all the raw material. Then privacy is a myth. Absolutely, Sushmit. Thanks for saying that. Um, so very simply put, we've downloaded all of this data. Now we need to get this data into a relationship data, which is where I gave you the example of the apple, right? The apple on. The next word is tree. So the internet has enough references to say the apple is on the tree. It kind of gets the articles and it does understand. So there's enough relationship that is being built. But if I say the apple box, in your head, you're thinking about the Apple device. There is enough relationship data for that as well, right? So there's a probability score. There's a matrices made basis on the probability score of the number of conversations that I've had according to this and so on and so forth. You create these matrices, which are in some form or the other tokens, and we'll talk about that later, but this is how it is done. So some relationship is created. Now what we do is the weights, because of this relationship data, there are certain weights that are assigned. So if you see enough number of times on the internet, if it is said that there is an apple on the tree, the apple on the tree will make sure that there is enough number of times it's noted, and thence the probability is high, so naturally a higher weightage is assigned to it. Got it, guys? Understood? So those are weights. Now, can you manually assign weights? Absolutely. As an AI engineer, it's easy for you to manually assign weights. Do they want to manually assign weights? Look at the combinations, right? 600,000 words with sentences that could be infinite, the number of combinations that are going to be crazy. So of course you cannot do this manually. So weights are essentially just for you to take all the internet data, download it, create relationship data, put them into matrices, and say the probability score for the next word for this, if this is the word, will be this, right? And those are weights. Biases are when you it's almost like training a child, right? When you train a child, you actually give it values, right? You will tell a child that, hey, listen, um, and that's how artificial intelligence is different from generative AI, by the way. Traditional artificial intelligence has like these bunch of conditions that you train it for. You say that, hey, for example, TikTok had come up with something called as I forgot the name of the model, where it was relationship based. So if you like, let's say, Pepsi, it assumes that you will also like any kind of other soda, and then it will start showing you relationship data, and that's how TikTok did it, right? So it created relationship data, but it was not generating anything. It was just able to predict what is the best possible content for you. That technology existed. So they took all the data, put it into matrices, created the relationship, a lot of data that they created a relationship, and they put them into giving them weights. Biases are very simple, as I said. For a child, when you train a child, it's not necessary jab ghar pe, when someone comes. Yeah, collaborative filtering. Thank you, Shivali. When someone comes at home, let's say your child doesn't behave properly, right? And then you kind of scold your child saying, hey, listen, when someone is at home, you don't do this, you behave nicely. But when you're training your child, you're actually providing values to it. When someone starts misbehaving, or when the child starts misbehaving, you fine tune it. So it's input data that you're giving as values. Fine tuning is with your experiences that you see, output that you see of the child, right? Clear, guys? Parameters has two parts: weights, biases. Any questions to that? Master analogy. Super clear, na? I like it. I like training an LM. Yes, good. Guys, you can please tell me if you're not able to understand. I'm happy to double click and tell you. Um, you know, so I'll give you an example, right? Is Apple a fruit? Is Apple like a brand? What is the likelihood? Weights are learned during training, so the model can be just make smarter decisions, right? Just has its job is to make sure that it predicts the next word. That's why I said it's dumb. So everyone understood parameters, the first part? Can I move on? Super clear. Great. We spoke about something called as context window. Okay. Now,
Sorry, Rumit, can I ask a question here?
you can always.
Yeah, okay. So we were talking about this collaborative filtering in TikTok that you just mentioned, like similar uses and similar items mapping is there.
Uh-huh.
So, can you also tell that, how it handles new users, like the cold start problem who don't have any interaction history?
For TikTok?
Yeah, for TikTok. Like let's say for that example.
You want to know TikTok, huh? Okay. We're talking generative AI, but okay, we'll talk about TikTok. No problem. So yeah, Shivali, the way they handle the cold start problem is a bunch of heuristics cross the concept of trending. So there is a concept called explore exploit. I don't know whether you know of that or not. Exploration is a probability that you will like something. So for example, exploiting is once I know what you like, I will then start showing you videos that you like. So it kind of dabbles between exploring and exploiting. In the first, so what TikTok says is if the user does 40 swipes, then it knows enough about you, right?
Okay.
And very simply put, TikTok, why they call it as an innovation is because a lot of AI ML guys will say, I need a negative signal. Um, it's not. My wife will kill you, man, if she hears that. It's not AI background. It's my wife who's designed this. Okay. Um, Coming back to TikTok, I think, how do I put it? Um, TikTok's AI today is considered to be traditional AI, if you know what I mean, and nothing wrong with that. It's just the way it is, right, Shivali? So I'm not going to talk about it much, but we can definitely chat about it separately. Works? It's like a longer session. That's why I don't want to waste other folks' time.
Yeah, yes, got it.
Let's talk about context, guys. So first, inferencing layer, sorry, parameters. Second is context. What do you mean by context? Does anyone know? Okay, I'll try to. Apart from weights and biases, what are the variances and its importance? What are variances? See, variances are essentially to say that you are expecting an output basis on the input, and you start seeing a lot of variance in that, which is called in some form or the other called noise as well. So that's why they say, no, when you actually are training data, you need noisy data, label data, all of that. Variances are an outcome of that. So um, how much you can consider a certain point, how much it can consider in a certain point of time. What can consider? What is the question, Faz? Maybe you want to speak up. Context. Okay. We'll talk about that. It's a very good question, by the way. I'm very impressed with that question itself. Um, Context is very simple, guys. There are two types of context, and I want you guys to make a note of this because this is very important, right? This is how an LLM typically has grown to function. Two types of context. perennial context, and rolling context. Well, Shweta, in simple words, yes, but I'm just kind of technically explaining it as to how does really context work in the LLM world. Yes, how much prior text considering predicting the next word? Yes, but how does it really do that intelligently, right? And this is where I think one of the things that Altman and these guys missed out on is making that layer slightly more intelligent, and I'll explain why. So context is two parts to it: perennial context and rolling context. Perennial context, rolling context. Can someone write that down in the chat? Will just help us for people uh, for the future. Now, perennial context, rolling context. Perennial context means which are facts about yourself. What do you mean by facts about yourself? I am a man. I am, let's say, X amount of age. I'm not going to tell you that. I have two daughters. I am married. Maybe that's like not perennial. Depends. Um, um, I'm 6 feet. I have, my choice of clothes is so on and so forth. So facts about you. I am a graduate. I work at Glance. Those are facts about you. That's called perennial context, right? Then there is something called as rolling context. Someone spoke about the fact that I have great interiors. So rolling context is to say that, hey, listen, this month I want to get my interiors done. Right now, that's rolling context. Now, why that distinction? Very important, guys. See, for it to give you curtailed answers basis on what you guys are putting out, let's say if you actually ask uh, um, without context, if you actually ask an LLM, and you tell an LLM saying, you put one query saying, my favorite sport is football. And this very next question that you ask it is, what is my favorite sport? It'll say, I don't understand you enough for me to give you that right answer. So without that context, it's going to be super critical. So perennial context, rolling context, whenever you are having conversations with a GPT or a Claude, or let's say any other tool, a Copilot, and so on and so forth, it and I'm going to talk a little more GPT specific because they were the first ones, so the pioneers to do it in terms of this concept. um, what they did is very simple. They said, okay, fine. What we will do is we will take perennial context out basis on conversation that we're having. So if you say, I am building a product for Gen AI that, let's say, puts widgets on the lock screen, it will kind of capture, remove excerpts out and put it into your rolling context. But if you say, hey, listen, I'm a director of product, or I'm a VP of product, or I'm an SVP of product, that goes into perennial context, right? Now, what it does is, why is the context layer important? Is because it takes context layer of perennial, it takes context layer of rolling, clubs them together with the prompt that you have put out. So now if you say, I am working on a widget, it will understand that a director of product or a VP of product who is leading Gen AI products is asking this question. I need to tailor the answer basis on the matrices that were there in the weights and biases, right? So that's how it gives you answers. So the first thing, the most important thing, and this is where it gets confusing. Every time you write a query to an LLM, all of this context is converted into something called as tokens. So your text, the text that you put out, let's say you say, tell me everything about football. It takes your perennial context. It takes your rolling context, then takes the text that you have put out, convert that into tokens. We'll explain what tokens are, puts that all together to the inferencing layer. And then the inferencing layer job is just to predict the next word because it has all the context under the word. So it predicts the next word and creates a sentence, right? With me so far, guys, or too complex? A silent,
complex.
little complex. We'll explain it again. Let's say, Shivali, you write a text that says 80% there. Yeah, yeah. You'll get it, guys. Don't worry. There is another, let me give you an example. Very nice. Swarnadeep is talking to me. I don't know who the heck he is. So he's going to say, give an example. I'll say, of what? But if Swarnadeep tells me I am in this AI for PM's exclusive shop, and I am a product manager or an engineer or a QA and so on and so forth, from this, and it is 12 in the 1 in the afternoon, and I'm asking you this question basis on the uh, previous context that you said that you're talking about context. I have all the context in the world. What is his question, or why is he saying give an example? But if he just says give an example, I'll not be able to successfully predict the next word. With me so far, guys?
Yes.
Brilliant. Okay. Um, Now, um, what does the context layer do? It Whenever you are writing a question, whenever you write something, you say there is a prompt that you're writing. When you're writing a prompt, the LLM itself also extracts information about you and it puts it into two parts of context. One part of context is perennial context, which are facts about you. The other part of the context is rolling context, which is things that interest you at this point of time. With me so far? Then what it does is it takes this context, it takes this context, it marries them, takes the question that you have, puts all of this together, then sends it to the LLM. Understood? So whenever you're actually asking, is this clear? Himanshu, better? No better?
Yep.
This is what it does. Yeah. Okay. This is what it does. Yeah. Okay. We'll hold for questions. I just want to see if everyone got it or not. And I think we're above time. Do you guys want me to continue or you want? Okay. My wife's going to kill me. It's a Saturday. I've not taken her out. Oh, my children are also going to kill
We
me.
would want you to continue for a long, long time. But folks, we'll spend maybe 5 minutes more. We have some of our cohort members as well, who can show some of their projects to you, right? So what you would also be building by the end of the cohort as well. So yeah, Rumit, 5 minutes. Does that work?
It
Or
doesn't. But okay. We'll try to wrap it up. We'll try to wrap it up. No problem. Okay. So rolling context, perennial context mixed together. So each time you're putting out a query, now imagine this. Each time you're putting out a query, it is appending all of this information into that query that you've put, and it sends it for it to predict the next word or the next sentence or the query, respond to the query that you've put out. Imagine how expensive that is going to be, right? So what happened is, and this is where humans make mistakes. So the entire data scientists of all of the world really focused only on something called as the inferencing layer, which is the layer that we spoke about, right? That has the weights and biases and all of that. They focused only on that because they thought that is the biggest problem. But actually, the problem was context. Now, if unless context is now optimized for it to become something called as muscle memory that we talk in humans. Does anyone know what's a muscle memory in humans? Anyone can answer.
Something that you don't think about and happens automatically.
Exactly. You don't think when you're brushing, right? You just brush. Few courses. Hey, guys, I roadmap and all. Sakshi will help. Please, I'm going to complete this session. Then we'll go. Gym rat news. Okay. Yes, example driving. It's become a part of your muscle memory, right? Now, context does not work like that. The LLM does not work like that. It doesn't have a concept of muscle memory. And hence, just understand this. We're playing the cover drive. Love it, Nihal. Thank you for saying that. And hence, each time you're asking a question, it's appending that and it's taking it and it's going there. It's like people have not really thought of it, yeah. So context layer was completely ignored, but they tried to optimize it with GPT-1, GPT-2, GPT-3. What did they do? Let's say it was storing facts about you. It stored rolling context about you. Let's assume that this becomes so big. If you have a long conversation, this will become big. If it becomes big, the number of tokens that you're taking will be big, right? And that's where, that's the amount of processing that it requires. And we can talk about, typing is muscle memory. For example, what will happen is if this is the amount of processing that is required. Do you guys know the difference between a CPU and a GPU? Everyone? What is a CPU? What is a GPU? Everyone knows it. I can just simply say that linear processing, parallel processing. Yes. Okay, great. So why did GPUs become like a rage? Because they had parallel processing, right? So you could take all of this data and run like huge engines But when these GPUs are running, so Nvidia became like a big company because of this, right? They started producing GPUs left, right, and center. Great. Now you're able to produce X amount of GPUs. People started buying GPUs also. But the problem with this is GPUs you can run, but they need to work continuously, for which you need to kind of make sure that they're also cooled down because produce heat. Now, when they produce heat, you need to cool down. For you to make it cool down, you need to run an air conditioner, which again takes electricity. Now, the consumption of electricity went mad because of this and is going mad, right? And which means if you take this context layer and you put this, when you put the context layer and you put the inferencing layer together and then you give it to the LLM for it to process real time and come back with an answer, just imagine the amount of processing it is doing, the amount of heat it is taking, the amount of electricity it is taking, right? And that's why electricity is a problem. And that's why I come back to the fact, which is the first thing that I had said, which was in Jan 2024, there was this company called Beta Volt that went into nuclear energy. So if you now understand, if you ever get a nuclear battery, correct? If you ever get a chance to work in a nuclear company that is actually building batteries, go for it because that's going to be the next big thing, guys. How is AGI? Of course, there is going to be optimization in the context layer. Let's talk about the optimization of the context layer as well. Maybe I drifted, but I want you guys to know this, that AGI, why is it not possible? Because it does not understand muscle memory today. It is as simple as that. It's not like when your child knows that you are the father. You don't have to teach it every day. It's become a part of their ingrained memory, right? So they didn't build that. Now, yes, exactly. Now the suspense is revealed. So now Mr. Altman has gone all over the world, taken money from the Saudi guys, some billions and billions of dollars to actually solve energy and not solve the context layer, the LLM layer, or the inferencing layer, and the weights and biases, because that technology is cracked. He is actually trying to solve energy so that processing power becomes efficient, right? Um, and we'll talk about agentic AI, and so on and so forth. But I think I'm going to kind of pause and take a time check and see as
Yes.
to whether we're going way, way above. And there are various concepts here that we can talk about. RAG and GANs and what are exactly tokens? I'm happy to answer that for you. But before that, I just want to make sure that you guys are able to understand, follow, or am I going too fast, too slow, or have I yapped too much?
It's perfect.
It's good. Awesome.
Okay. Oh, awesome. Cash. What are we? What exactly tokens? Cash. Yes. 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 Okay. Yes, Mohammed. Somehow, Mohammed. I think you get it right. Huh? Okay. So what are tokens? Is someone asked? Yeah, every language model or an LLM, let's say, takes a sentence down. Just very simple. Give the model a sentence. It doesn't see it as one big chunk. It breaks it down into smaller pieces called tokens. So essentially, for you to dumb it down in your head, let's say you say something like, I went to the park. Okay. Now, I can convert each of these into tokens, each one of them. Each word I can convert into tokens. But wouldn't it be smart enough, and a lot of Gen Z folks do this today, is I don't take the articles as tokens. I say went, park, I. Instead of 5 tokens, I've taken 3 tokens. So yes, it does divide every either character or word, and every LLM slices it differently. But tokens is essentially the amount of usage it is tracking, amount of usage that it is tracking for you. So for example, different LLMs have different amount of tokens they can take in one go. For example, I think GPT-4o takes 12,000 or something. And because you don't know, you might sometimes just write a single sentence and it will say your tokens are up. You'll be like, what is this? It's actually the context layer. You filled in so much of context. And now just your simple query in itself is causing those tokens to kind of get jammed. So essentially every word either broken down. Can an emoji be broken down into a token? Yes. So it takes a large chunk, breaks them down into small words, and almost like a jigsaw puzzle, right? Each token is like a single puzzle piece. It puts it pieces together to figure out the whole picture, given it the best response. So, for example, I love apples and an exclamation. I love apples and exclamation becomes tokens, right? A piece of word could be a token, or it could be apples. If you say apples, apple and es could be two separate tokens. In fact, even a character could be a token. So every LLM does is slices it in different forms. This is the secret sauce. They don't let it out as to how they are converting them into different types of tokens. Yes, Ashwarya, you have a question.
I'm gonna digress and take my
I love
chance on
digressions, by the way.
asking
Go for it.
the question.
Mhm.
So, if you have to make a recommendation to somebody who's just starting out in the world, a free resource to follow to get into the world of AI, what would it be apart from product space? I know we'll
Oh,
try
very
to
good question.
plugins.
So I think Sakshi will hate me for this, but I'm going to say it anyways, right? So the lesser the tokens, the faster the response, Sandeep. Yes. Ashwarya, I am completely open to giving free advice. Um, but these guys will kill me. Nevertheless, I will kind of give you, I'll tell you how we learned. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
And maybe that'll help you. There is no right or wrong way in learning. There are some people who visually learn. There are some people who textually learn. There are some people who, sit down with someone and learn. Very different formats. I'll tell you how I learned, and um, maybe that'll give you a glimpse. So we went through shitloads of white papers.
Okay.
Okay, Ashwarya, and we didn't understand them. I'm being honest. On day one, when you read a white paper, it's Jimbo Bimbo, right? You don't have no understanding of it. But we consumed a lot of data then. We said, so for example, I Googled for what is a neural network? What is an LLM? Somewhere I got the keyword of a neural network. I said, what is a neural network? Then I realized that there are different types of neural networks. There's a convolutional neural network, this kind of a neural network, a deep learning neural network, every neuron connected to every neuron. What does it do? How do you mathematically divide it? So every time I got a new query, I went deep in it. Every time I got a new term, I went deep in it. Right? Um, the advantage of this is that you're learning by yourself. The disadvantage is that it takes a lot of time. Right? That's the only disadvantage. Apart from that, I think you could just go crazy. So I watched like maybe 1,000 hours of content on YouTube, consumed 1,300 hours of content while driving on Spotify. These could be podcasts and so on and so forth, right? Um, so yeah,
Okay,
that's
that's helpful.
that's
Thank you.
that's the secret sauce.
Okay.
Um, if there's a limitation of number of tokens, that wouldn't a shorter prompt be better than a long? Oh, Himanshu, now you guys are start trying to get it. Yeah, of course. But if you're able to be short and at the same time be effective, uh, you'll be able to do it. So um, I don't think you should really optimize on tokens as much, because earlier on there was this problem in things like GPT-4o and all of that. With 12,000 contexts or tokens, it's fine. Yes, product security. Guys, if you have any questions for me, this is the time. I'm going to drop off because I'm officially going to get divorced if I don't take my wife and children out now. So if this is the time, you can raise your hands and ask me questions, and we're happy to answer, and then I'll scoot.
Awesome.
Overall,
Rumit, I think,
huh?
yeah.
Follow?
Yeah, I think we went way over time.
I know.
And
I
thanks to
know.
you for taking that time out.
Okay.
Hope you have a fun day with your wife and daughters. Thank you so much for coming in again, and hope to see you soon.
She's literally throwing me out, huh, guys? Okay.
No,
Bye. See you guys.
no, no, I'm not, guys. You can keep him. Awesome.
Okay, guys. Bye
Thanks.
bye. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you. Thank you, Rumit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome, folks. Just a few minutes more in case you would want to see some of the projects as well that our students have actually built, right? In terms of what you can also do. Maybe you can just take some reference in case you want to build something similar. Tomorrow, folks, we have people from Miro coming in, right? We have their leadership team. So we have the head of Asia, Sunil. Then there would be Peter, who is the chief evangelist there at Miro, coming in tomorrow. So please be there. They will also talk about what are new innovations that Miro is doing in terms of AI as well. What are the new AI integrations that they have, and we'll dive deeper into it, right? We will also look into certain tools, especially for product discovery. Arun, if you want to elaborate, maybe something on that in terms of what they'll learn tomorrow as well.
Yeah, so we'll be using Craftful. We'll be doing hands-on of also probably Google Data Studios. One of the things that we have seen is data visualization, data insights has always remained a challenge for PM. So we will try to cover that part as well. And of course, like couple of try to give you 3 4 tools today. We'll be covering 3 more today with the previous cohort members just to see how they are leveraging. I think Aishwarya asked a brilliant question around. How do you do self learning and how do you keep informed? Every week there is Google or OpenAI or Claude which is coming out with a research paper with new metrics, view analytics, right? How do you keep yourself up to speed and how do you apply that as concept? So we have really broken down that learning using fundamental tools of AI itself. We'll expose those tools tomorrow and some of them today as well.
Awesome.
Can we?
Yeah. Awesome. We'll have Akshay. I think I already see you. If you can let me know if you're able to present your screen. I've just stopped my presentation.
Sure, Sakshi. Let me just try to see with the including sound also. Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. Like we shared, folks, Akshay is the data and AI PM with PepsiCo. He was previously with Microsoft as well. Yeah, Arun, you were saying something. Sorry, I cut you off.
No worries. So I just wanted to introduce Akshay and thanks Shakshi for doing that. He's currently data and AI consultant with PepsiCo. And if you see Akshay, if you can just flash attention is all you need paper. This was the groundbreaking paper, that research paper that came out in 2017, which Google introduced. And since then, the entire architecture of LLMs and transformers is built on top of that paper. If you see that research paper for the first time, it is very overwhelming and a lot tech, especially even for people who come from computer science degree or have been doing coding for a lot of time. If you see this research paper, this is fundamentally what we have, and we teach this in detail in our session, right? We will share the link to this paper. Akshay, if you can put that link also in the chat, that'll be fantastic for people to read. Now what we are showing you is a library that Akshay has created as part of the previous cohort. Both Akshay and Ashima were part of our learning cohort in C1. So Akshay has
Akshay, your
fundamentally
screen
broken
is
down.
too. Sorry, your screen is too zoomed out. I don't think any of us will be able to see. You have a very
No, no
large
worries.
screen.
I'll just reshare it. No worries. I understand that.
So
Sorry, Arun, you were saying something. Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
Akshay would be talking about how do you dumb down these learnings of very complex technical papers to very simple learning which you can consume day in and day out. And he has created a AI tool for himself through which he puts any research paper, any new latest update, and he has created sort of a Spotify or a podcast library for himself. So fascinating work done as part of our first learning cohort. Akshay, over to you. Thank you so much for taking time and coming and sharing this with us.
It's my pleasure, Arun. Thanks a lot. And I'll try to give you like a small understanding what I have actually done, and then we can take it forward from there. So majorly, if I can, I'll try to share within 5 minutes. Try to give you what was the overall understanding that I had. So there is a research papers that we have, and we have a lot of content that we have to go through it. So there are like 11 pages of data, which is more related to attention, all you need. And the importance of this paper is that this is the starting place where Google has actually started talking about LLMs, AI. So now there is a library called labs.google. I'll try to share these links in the after this session so that you can go through it. So there are like set of tools that Google Labs are already created and they are like free open source one. What they do, they try to have this recommendation AI. Why they are doing to keep it at open source? Because they are trying to make sure that they also learn through the process. So at this stage, you can see there are a lot of important tools that you can see, like Project Astra. You have waiting list for this, video effects. You have a lot of tools which are there in this, which you can explore for creating, for learning, for developing. So one such tool that we got was Illuminati, and our second one was related to Notebook LM. So we have this Notebook LM being fascinated because we are trying to be in a place where we are trying to see where we actually are at this position is that we like podcasts. Some people like podcasts, they want to listen to it. So what they have done, they have given a simple interface where you can create a new sheet. And once you have this added resources and you will give it, the chat is generated where you can use it as a chat GPT or chat PDF, where you can ask questions to it. And accordingly, audio is done. So let me go into the question that we were already doing it because I was trying to do with Rumit was trying to let us know about the recommendation algorithm, which was more related to the filters that we were trying to say. So whatever the filters, like for example, collaboration filters is there, I just filled it up. I've just added here in the on-go itself during the session. And then I've tried to ask few questions in this, if whatever the questions is. Today, what happens is that everything you like you want to be very confined to the paper. I don't want to go outside the paper to assume something. So for example, then I asked that how are new users of TikTok are handled using this. So it tries to say is that this paper does not help us. So you can see that it's very limited to that. But if I ask any other question, like what are the factors influencing the TikTok recommendation engine, you have the questions also in the bottom, which you have it. And there is an interactive session that has been already created with two people. And it is around 12 minutes that has been created. And you can also have an interactive feature where you can be the third person. So if it is going on in this recommendation engine, and I try to join in this one.
Akshay, if you can also share the
Yeah.
link to the public podcast, people would be interested in listening to that once. So you can actually hear two people talking about this paper and explaining you all the concepts. And this interactive mode is where you can also participate in the podcast. And this is the
Uh,
learning from one of our cohort exercises.
yes. I don't hope the voice is not audible, right?
No,
Which I'm
no,
playing
words is
here.
not
So
audible. Yeah, you'll need to share with
uh,
the audio.
one, I'm just resharing it because I missed on that one while resharing the second time. So hope my screen is visible right now.
Screen is visible. Yeah, play it.
Yeah.
Kind of like the ethics behind it all.
Yeah, for sure.
And get this, TikTok
Is
processes
voice is
over a
audible?
billion
I don't
video
know.
views like
Yes, it is
every
now.
single day.
It's wild.
So you can see
That
that
is a lot of
whenever I
algorithmic
click on
power.
It
join,
really is, and it's not.
Oh
it
yeah,
shows that
let's
I
hear
have.
it.
Hey, just want like if I keep here.
Hey, yeah, what's up?
I just wanted to know about what are the recommendation engine
Okay, yeah, that's a
paper
good
in
point.
two
It's like a
minutes.
lot to wrap your head around.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here
So
is
it tries to also answer according to that. So after that, you can just share this copy link and like, I can keep it in the group so that you can also listen from your end at this point of time. I've just added here the link also. So in the similar way, here there are a couple of things which I like fascinating. Now you might see the one level of things. Now the second level of thing is that actually this is something I know. What we have learned next was like there are different use cases that we are building on. One thing is that now you can also have some applications like Suno. And you can create, like for example, like Elevate 11 labs, and you can change the audio also if you require. So this type of applications are well, where I'm trying to use that key, even I can use my own language type of thing. So that is the way I'm trying to say that, okay, in the audio, whatever is generated here, I can do it. And the second level was related to, which I was also looking, if I'm integrating with Sora, I can create the snippets. So whatever the snippets are there, smaller snippets, I try to do that one. Like for example, any small snippets, if I wanted to create in terms of video in the conversation, I can use Sora. It will take little time, but you can describe the video and so that you can also play the background. So now what will be the next is that the podcast is there in audio form. We can also try to look into the video into it. And there are tools in 11 labs where if you take a little premium subscription, now the person is also you who is talking into it. So that level of interaction is possible. I'm not able to show right now because there is a paid membership that you need to do. But next time when I'll try to prepare that as a project and I'll try to show you that the interaction started here from just creating a podcast. Then I created the audio onto my language in Suno and different apps. Then using 11.7, I can also create like Akshay talking to the podcast present in that one. So there are different things. And another tool which is there called Illuminati, where you can change the voices according you want, or you can also have create a smaller version. It's like same like in what is left over in the podcast is that you can't change the content in that. There is only one option of generating it. Now you have another option like I want to do some customization. For example, I will use that font like free from. So I just say that, okay, give me just 2 minute summary. So then that will create accordingly and generate it. And you can use different types of voices. And this is something I've used for attention, what you have. And in 2 minutes, it will give
This
you a small
conversation is
understanding.
powered by Google Illuminate. Check out illuminate.google.com for.
And you have the complete podcast here. So for example, if I just copy this and create some paper also, which I was
Hey
talking on
everyone, welcome
Sora,
to the discussion.
you can do it. I'll take a pause here. I think most of you would know few of them, few things you can also explore from your end. So few requires premium membership, few does not require premium membership. But what I was trying to use it more related to creating videos. I was using Suno, like Sora. For voice, Suno is being used in. And 11, the 11labs.io has this text or speech voice changer. You can change it to your own voice and sound effects. And there is a studio and dubbing and conversation AI, which will also enhance you as a person in that one. So I'll try to give you some links in the chat so that you can go forward. These were some tools that we were trying to explore during session. So Arun asked us to prepare few of the AI tools, top 3 that we could find out and we can discuss on that. I'll take a pause here, Arun, if you want to add something. If not.
Yep. Thank you so much, Akshay. And we just mentioned 4 tools just to go step by step. Convert your any theoretical paper to podcast using Notebook LLM, then convert it to a local language, Tamil, Telugu, whatever that is, using Suno. Add video elements to it using Sora. Fourth one was if you want to add your own voice as if you are talking in the podcast, you can use 11 Labs. And of course, top of all this, if you want to customize your podcast, there is again Google Studios Illuminati, right? And we cover that. The list that Akshay was flashing of all the tools is exclusively for cohort 1. We will have more consolidated list for cohort 2. We'll not be sharing all these tools. If you see, there are around 50 tools that we explored throughout the cohort. Video, audio, text, speech, image creation, all of those are at the disposal. And as a class, we try to keep these 25 students actively engaged in helping each other and discovering these tools. So that is how we are learning the research papers in the class. And if you can also flash your repository of all the research paper converted to podcast that you have, Akshay.
Sure. I have this prompt engineering comfy beginners. Few of them I have kept it, and also there were something
all these
related to
research papers were covered in class, and then for his learning, Akshay has created this repository of his own too. If you see large language models, AGI, generative agents, all these are the research papers that are covered in class. Okay, thank you so much, Akshay. We'll have Ashima now. I'll see if I can just give a second. Okay, let me. Ashima, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, so we will just share a link of a video, and all of you can try opening that on your YouTube. I'll just share it in the chat. Okay, and I will also share my screen and play this video for all of us to contextualize better before Ashima comes in and talks about her research. So this is video creation tools, View 2 by Google and OpenAI Sora. I'll just play this video at a very slow speed so that we can exactly see what's happening, right? And if you see, I'll just start from here. And this is a video, artificial intelligence video created to sliced tomatoes, right? See what Sora is doing versus what View 2 by Google is doing. It's trying to cut across the fingers, right? And that is, just play through that video and in your own screen, and then Ashima, can you walk through the project that you did as part of class assignment? What was your learnings?
Yeah, so shall I share the screen on that?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
If you, yeah, good.
Is it
And just for
allowing me?
context, Ashima is already a senior product analyst within Skeletrix.ai. She is based out of Gurgaon. So she's already doing AI in her current role. We are looking at PM, senior PMs, GPMs to join us. So if you see that video very closely, right, you can see what's happening here. And over to you, Ashima.
So I think my screen is visible now.
Yes, your screen is visible. Yeah.
Yes. All right. So with that taking over from the video which Arun has just shown, so let's dive into further what this image actually speaks. So on the technical side, we'll observe certain limitations of that. So as you can see on the Sora side, so what first limitation we have observed is the motion fluidity issue with respect to like inconsistent knife movement patterns and unrealistic hand positioning. So you can see that unrealistic hand positioning, as it is not a realistic way to cut the tomato with this knife. And the other constraint, we have seen the visual quality constraint with respect to the artificial lightning dynamics and inaccurate shadow rendering. So you will observe the shadow part in VO2 and the Sora and the lightning part also. So you will see the difference with respect to this. And the other limitation we have analyzed is physical simulation limitation. That means there is an unrealistic cutting interaction between knife, tomato, and you can see that unnatural separation of sliced object and simplified liquid and juice dynamics. So basically, trying to say here the physics is not physics simulation. They were not able to do it because when you cut tomato, it has to deform. The liquid juice part has to come out. So that dynamics they could not be able to play as compared to the VO2, which they have done it very beautifully. So all those things we analyzed, the technical limitations, and later on, because of the cohort part, we were able to understand all those architectural challenges also, which you will deep dive when you join the cohort as well. So why is it happening at the back end? What is the architectural challenge they are having? And that's how we come into the VO2 technical advantage, that they were having more natural and realistic lightning reflections and consistently fluid and lifelike slicing motion sequence and more advanced interactions between knife and tomato, which was demonstrating realistic cutting physics and liquid dynamics over there. So what we observe that there is a need to further improve and enhance on the Sora part, because it's just a new version they have launched for the limited users. So the technical enhancement, what we feel, they should have a more advanced physics engine to accurately simulate that cutting and resistant dynamics. They should improve space-time coherence to reduce jittering and maintain smooth transition between frames. And they should have introduce more advanced lighting algorithms to create natural shadows and reflections. And on the other side, not just the technical side, but the user experience improvement also we have suggested them. It's like allowing for more precise control over actions like cutting angles and pressure. And they should enhance the ability to interpret the complex prompt. With the simple, they were doing justice to the job, but when it comes to the complex, they require the enhancement. And when it comes to the complex object interactions, like here the tomato, the slicing soft, liquid filled, so these dynamic materials, when they come, so they should focus on better handling of these multifaceted interactions. So all these insights we were able to capture because of the basic understanding of the architecture, what is happening behind the scenes during our cohort learning. Over to you, Arun. Thank you. I
Thank you,
should
Ashima.
stop
Thank you for
share.
running us through. Yeah, you can stop sharing. And yeah, exactly what Ashima called, right? Any domain that we are going very deep. If you see physics precision, shadowing control, lightning control, all of that are very relevant and very specific to the video generation that we deal. We show 4 tools for video generation: Sora, View, Runway, In image, we do DALI, Stable Diffusion, Midjourney, all of those tools. We actually explain you the technical understanding of what was happening and what was missing. Just to wind up today's session, I am also attaching the link to the final feedback form that I created. And yeah, I think your question around you want to follow up and read the material. I have, meanwhile the session was going on, I have just created this final site. You can go ahead and see this. I have pasted the link in the chat. Your more reading materials, and we have given some home reads as well. We have given you some prompt guides as well. You can download them from here. And of course, to enroll the course, we have created this entire page using bold.new, what we learned. So I hope you are able to get some value out of the workshop today. We'll have more industry relevant specific workflows tomorrow as well.
Yeah.
Sakshi, any parting thoughts or any questions that you want to take?
No, folks. So we'll have the session tomorrow at 2 p.m. So hope all of you are excited. Quickly, I'll get started and welcome Arun as well. Hey, Arun.
Hey, hello. Hey, Sakshi. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, all. Thank you so much for taking time today as well with us.
Yes. Awesome. Folks, just a quick brief of how this today's session will happen as well, right? So first we'll have the first 1 hour, 15 minutes is where Arun will be walking you through certain extra tools that we have planned for today. These are new tools. These are not repeat of yesterday, right? These are completely new. Additionally, there would be certain concepts as well, which Arun will be touching upon. Then we will have a student who will join in again, who will showcase one of the projects that they have built. I think people who stayed on till the end yesterday knew that and actually learned 2 to 3 more extra tools, right? Because they saw what projects other people had done, right? And something that they can implement as well. So do stay on and listen to what students have already built as well. And then the last 30 minutes is wherein we have the Miro team coming in. So their head of Asia, their chief evangelist is as well coming in, who would be talking towards the last 30 minutes in terms of what are the AI advancements that are happening. How can their tool as well be utilized? So Miro is, widely used, so it will help you a lot in terms of understanding that where these tools are actually going, right? In terms of integrating AI as well. So they will talk about how they have also built AI into their product. So that will help you kind of get some knowledge from it as well, right? Arun, I'll hand it over to you. This was just a quick brief. I think we might do a recap, so I'll just hand it over to you first.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And very grateful for all of you to make time today. It's a Sunday afternoon. It's fantastic to see you all here spending time in your learning. I received a lot of LinkedIn requests. I'll talk about that a bit going forward. How I value the network and how can we connect further, right? So let's start with what we did yesterday. We'll start with some basic trivia from yesterday. People who were there in the class yesterday will just get an understanding of where you are and how much were you able to gauge, right? So let's start. Yep, sorry for the AM. This would be the agenda today. We got a feedback and we love improvising on the feedback. So we realized yesterday that people are very happy with the tools that we shared. Some of you also pinged me with a bold.new or Claude or prompts that you are writing and wanted to do hands-on, which was fantastic. We can definitely connect and explore that. Almost we got the cohort for February completed. A lot of you also enrolled and said, how can I start learning before the cohort starts? We have sent some white papers to the people who have enrolled in the cohort. If you want more of content which you can start consuming to prime yourself before the cohort actually starts, feel free to again ping me, or Sakshi will share more material with you so that you are more application oriented and less scared about do I know this stuff or not, right? But building on what we did yesterday, just a few questions, and we will try to, as your feedback said, we will try to keep a mix of theory and tool today. There was less theory yesterday, I realized. So we will talk about the theory and the tools, and we will give you hands-on to 7 more tools. As I had promised, there were 8 tools that we did today. We'll again do 6-7 more tools today, which are very different from yesterday, and the use cases are also very different. So yeah, and then we'll try to cover these topics, and you can see some of the tools that I've written: prompt engineering and RAG, with, of course, ChatGPT. Then we'll do data generation. People who are not so comfortable with data sciences, data processing, as PMs, we have to take data-driven decision making, right? So where do you get started? How do you get that data? How can you create your own data when you don't have the sufficient data? Somebody who's building your own startup or a new product from scratch, how can you generate data? We'll be focusing on that in the first part. Second part would be when you have to talk to users, what is this Craftful tool which can fully democratize your surveys and interviews that you do with your end user, right? You don't need to do anything. Your data analysis, survey collection, post survey, what insights you get and what interview questions should you ask, that is also taken care by this tool. Then third one, we'll move ahead with visualization of this data that you collect. How can you create without touch, zero touch point based visualizations and data sources, right? I think any story or any narrative that you build as a product manager, it is very important that you have the right data and the right story narrative. So we'll walk you through Julius.ai, which is a fantastic tool to ask prompts, question your data, get insights without manually working on Excel and manually doing anything that uses pivot table formulas and all of that Excel, right? So yeah, that we'll talk a bit about that, and then we will talk about slight bit of theory of how these prompts can be dangerous for humanity. What are the use cases where these are probably getting abusive, and how you should be careful with them, right? Overall, try to cover 5 tools before the team from Miro comes in. They showcase how they are using AI, how you can leverage their new capabilities of AI. We will have few more students join us today who will talk about image generations, how they have learned in the cohort some tools about image generations and how they are primed towards learning this image generation capabilities further, right? And then, of course, someone who will talk about their case studies that they have done in terms of Uber, Ola, Spotify, Nvidia. They've read so many case studies in the cohort, and they would present to you what are their understanding, how these companies are going about it. With that context, let's get started. Here's a first question from what we did yesterday, right? Um, let me see how many of you can answer this.
It's B, right?
What makes an LLM model large? We say large language model. What is the L in that?
B.
Fantastic. It's good. I'm just trying to see how many of you are awake. It's good that we have at least 50% of the crowd from yesterday. We had 220 people today. We have almost 100 today. Okay, fantastic. I think everyone got this one correct. So I'm pretty sure this was meant to be right because Rumit delivered it, and he is a fantastic person when it comes to delivery and teaching these basic concepts, right? So it is B. Large in the large language models is number of parameters and the amount of training data set that it uses, right? Let's go on to the second one. What is the most important feature of bold.new that it makes it suitable for rapid prototyping, which we had yesterday? Okay, a lot of you are saying A, and I wanted to bring this question specifically because yesterday post class also we were asked by a few folks around, hey, can we really just take this code and deploy it in the environment? That's why we added this question also. Always take it with a pinch of salt, get it reviewed.
C,
It
right?
is it's C, zero setup instant web environment for testing and actually looking at your prototype, right? It is not production ready. So just don't take it at the face value and deliver it, right? That is one caveat that we wanted to call out. I'm hoping that this gives you the clarity that it gives you a very standard, very refined code, but then of course it has to be run through your technical analysis and tech review before it goes to production, right? Don't assume it to be a production ready code. This is the third one. When we are using Claude for interview feedback, which we generated yesterday using the interview transcript, what is the advantage of it? What can it do for you? What can Claude do for you? And I'm sure some of you would be very easily able to answer, because you were trying this yesterday. A lot of folks reached out saying that, hey, I'm trying this with my interview. Can I? Okay, fantastic. I think all of you are getting this correct. It gives you structured feedback around the prompts that you write. Yeah. It in some apeksha, in some distant reality, that would be the case, and some companies might be using it. We realized there was a company which was doing this actually on LinkedIn. They were inviting a lot of students and putting them through AI interviews first, and then nobody was converting. When our cohort members, around 20 of them, went through the process, we realized, oh, they are actually training their AI model to get the interviews done. They are not actually offering roles. So, not name calling the company, but that's unethical, right? Okay, let's get to the meat of the stuff. First one is data driven PM. Now, three questions come to PMs, like, should I do a data analysis course? Should I be a data scientist? How deep should I be in data? And if I don't have any data, if I'm just starting off in my company, if I want to learn data analysis, where do I get started from? Right. So yesterday it was around creating the prototypes. Today we will try to make you a very strong data driven PM. And if some of you, I'm hoping most of you have a ChatGPT account. Some of you who haven't had made your GPT account yet, please go ahead and create your GPT account in parallel so that you can do hands-on with me, right? Okay, so we covered prompts yesterday, and we covered prompts at a very high level, right? Delivering the theory that some of you had requested, not just the tool, the theory itself. How to write an effective prompt, right? What constitutes an effective prompt? Are these six, and this is a Google framework, right? Either you can directly, and remember this, prompting is not Googling. You cannot just throw in the keywords and expect it to give you the output. You have to be very clear. You have to be very precise. You have to first tell it, okay, what is the task? It will tell you, okay, the task is give me a diet plan. The second layer that you can add is, what is the context? A diet plan might be very different for a male, for a female, for a 40-year-old versus a 25-year-old. Tell who you are. I am a 30-year-old male with a current weight of 85 kgs, and I am 6 feet tall. Now give me a diet plan, right? And see the difference that it creates. And we can actually do this, but I don't want to do this because this is something that you can easily do on your own. Then there is examples. You actually give the examples, like, give me a day wise plan where day one is my morning diet that I should have, afternoon I should be in office, what can I eat, and then evening my workout schedule. And similarly, give me a 30-day plan in this direction, right? Then tell the persona of who the agent is supposed to be, assuming you are a dietitian or a nutrition expert for last 10 years, right? And I will actually write a prompt and we'll do hands-on together for creating data, right? But these are the four most important common formats. Tone, the last two are, you can skip them depending on what type of output you want. You can add it to a prompt or not. But the first four, what exactly is the task that it needs to do, what is the context, right? Give it some examples and give it the persona, right? So let's try to do this in an actual prompt. Let me share my entire screen. Let me know if you are able to see the ChatGPT interface or not.
Yes.
Okay, so what we'll be trying to do is, we'll try to generate data for say Netflix recommendations, and these recommendations are people who have watched certain movies, right? And we want to create data. You might spend time downloading the data from Kaggle, or you might want to look at different data sets across industry, filter it, see if there is any noise inside that or not. Rather than doing all of that, if you just want to get started, let us try to create a data set with this, right? So the first thing that I would tell it is, can you please help me in creating, and if you don't have your GPT accounts, please set it up so that you can practice some other prompt as well. But if you can practice it with this, it will be fantastic. And you can use some other data set also. Help me in creating a Netflix recommendation data set. Okay, and with how many records? With maybe 250 lines of records. This is the task that I've given. Just very vanilla prompt. I have not added any context to it, right? Please, now I'm also providing it context. Please provide me this data in a randomized format so that it actually looks like the real data taken from users of Netflix. So I've given it the context now. I've given the task first, then I've given it the context. Now let me give some examples of how I want to see this data. The data should have the following columns. Are you able to see the prompt with me? Can someone confirm?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
fantastic. Okay, so one is name of the movie. Let's say keep this to a total of 25 movies. Then, and you can add like timestamp, when did the user watch the movie, date and time. Then third is completion rate, which is how much of the movie was completed by the user from 1 to 100%. Then rating, let the user give a rating to the movie between 1 to 10, where 1 is dislike and 10 is loved the movie. And fifth is review, objective statement, subjective statement given by the user for the movie and their recommendation. Sixth is cast, give the leading actor and actress for the movie, right? And seventh is probably genre of the movie, and it is repeat a boolean true or yes or a no if the user would actually watch the movie again or not. Now I'm giving it the format. I want to download this data as an .xlx file. Please provide me with the file. And I can also put this in the chat if any one of you wants to try this. So it is analyzing your prompt because you have given it a very specific prompt. And you can try doing that. You can just say, hey, can you please help me in creating Netflix recommendation data with 250 lines of data? See what is the output that it gives. Versus if you give it such detail level data, what it gives you. And also try to experiment this with the default ChatGPT model. Try to analyze this with ChatGPT O and above, which are the more reasoning models, right? So if you see it is analyzing, it has written a code. It has taken these names of movie: Inception, Titanic, The Dark Knight. These are the 25 movie names. If you see, it has generated completion rate, a random integer between 1 to 100. Rating is a random number between 1 to 10. And at least for PMs, it's expected you know this level of code. You might not know everything that's happening inside it, but okay, now it seems like I can't do more advanced analysis right now. Please try to do and let me know if you have anything else that I can. Okay. Okay, let me see the previous one. So this was the one that I ran yesterday, and it gave me this download Netflix movie data set, right? I'll just open it. Code interpretation. Okay. I have it on my desktop just because it can go wrong. Let me go to the desktop. Downloads. Workshop. Yeah, this is the file, Python file, and Can you see my screen? Netflix movie review data?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the data that is generated. I'll just open it up. Is it already open? Now, can you tell me what's wrong with this code that it has, this prompt that we try to generate here? Anything that any of you can notice? Ideally, if the completion rate is, say, greater than a certain percent, right? Say 80 to 90%, what would you expect with the ratings to be?
Should be higher because
Right.
you're
And
trying
if
to
the
work.
repeat rate is yes, if person would repeat it or not, if you see repeat is equal to yes, right? If, and it has just applied a random number. If you think repeat is yes, what should be the rating?
Hi.
High, right? And that is generally the expected. If I run this same prompt on, say, Claude, right? Let's see what is the code that this, and this is why I'm saying try to evaluate different models. See the code that it will write. Now it has generated these 10 movies, 25 movies that we asked it for. But let's see the code that Claude is able to give us. So it has given neutral reviews to certain, positive reviews to certain category, and negative reviews. But see this, if rating is greater than 8, if rating is less than this, then it has created some logic. Similarly, if you see completion rate is greater than 80, right? The difference between a model which has reasoning versus a model that does not do reasoning, and try running the same prompt on GPT-O and then see what exactly does it run. And you'll be able to differentiate why this gives you data which has no significance or no insights versus this gives you a data which has insights, right? I'll just try to open that again. Let me try. Okay, so I think this is the Netflix reviews. Let me zoom it in a bit. If I filter, let me clear this, select all. So this is my data set that is generated, right? 250 rows. And if you see, these are the columns that I requested: name of the movie, timestamp. Are you able to see the Excel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Review, genre, cast, and repeat. If I do only repeat on yes, right? Ideally, for repeat yes, the completion rate should have been higher, which looks like it is, and the rating should also have been higher. But there are a lot of ones if you see here, right? 1, 2, 3. Let's look at another inference. Let's only add rating 1, 2, 3. There is a lot of 1 and 2s, but the completion rate is still significantly higher: 90, 93, 94, 95, 97, 98, right? If I try to go back and read my code again, what exactly happened with this? I asked it, can you give me, for the original data set, can you show me the code that you used to generate this data? I tried to do an analysis, and then I realized that completion rate, it has generated random integer between 50 to 100. So it would always be between 50 to 100. There will be no movie that will be having completion rate between less than that. Let's try to just validate that. Let's see the completion rate. See, it starts only from 52. Now this is the, we have done basics of data generation with prompt, right? But how do we tackle all of this? How do we do that analysis? Let's go back to our deck. Are you clear with these concepts? What is the task, context, examples? How do you need to give? And then you can give it a persona also, saying that, hey, assume that you are a Netflix data scientist who is generating this data, and try to generate it like an expert. With me till now?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go back and the second part of it. So if you look, and we have just given a use case again, some theory here. If you look at any type of task, be it image generation, text generation, data generation, coding, mathematics, video generation, audio generation, each of them have their own caveat. And we cover like these 8 components of different type of content generation in the cohort. But just to give you an idea with image generation how deep it is, let's look at this website, right? And if you look in a prompt, these are the 5 things for an image generation that can be different. Like what is the medium, what is the material that is used, what is the photography style, what is the lighting. To give you an example, if the drawing medium is a stencil, using a stencil, if you are drawing a bird, this is how it will look like, right? If you're using watercolor, this is how it would look like. This is material that you are using. Paper craft based bird image generation would look like this, right? If I change the constituent material of it, this one, if it is made out of porcelain, if you say generate an image made of pineapple made out of porcelain, it will look like this, right? If you say generate an image of a pineapple made with candies, right, it would look like this, a pineapple made out of candies, right? So whenever, and this is again delivering some bit of theory, whenever you are doing content generation, every component of this task, context, example, in case of images, the context is these 5 things. What is the medium? I'll just put this in the presentation mode. What is the medium, right? What is the material? What is the photography style? There is also something very fascinating about photography style. When we start generating images, we don't know that there are all these possibilities as well. But if you see the photography style, there is high key, low key, right? There is high key photograph, there is low key photograph, then there is high angle photograph, low angle photograph. These are the concepts that you need to learn. As a generalist of a PM, you might not operate in all these domains. Always your company would be in one specific direction. Either you are doing video generation or audio generation or image generation, or you might be doing math and reasoning, right? Or you might be doing content creation. Or content also, it has multiple types like blogs, research papers, and we do cover that in the cohort. But just giving you an idea, don't write generic prompts for all the use cases. There are multiple tools that you can use. We'll walk you through some of them again, but at a high level, this is, let me just put this in the presentation mode. Yep, these are the components that go inside a good prompt, right? So we have created an artificial data set. We have understood that depending on reasoning capability of a model, it can give smart data or it can give very dumb data. You can also introduce noise in this data, right? And most importantly, once you enforce certain rule, those can be accommodated. Like I wrote limit only to 25 movies, or on a scale of 1 to 10, give the ratings. That will be included in your data set. Now let's move on to this different tool, which is, I think, um, very nice if you have to do surveys and interviews. Let me just go on to Craftful. So this is the survey that we have generated. Again, I'll put this link in the chat for those of you who haven't created an account yet. It's a free tool. Yesterday we also got a feedback, can you use some free tools for the class? That's why I'm doing it on a free tool today. You can create your account on this one. Just go ahead and if you go to your home page of this, it would look like, just create new survey, and none of this needs any training on your previous data or what company you are for. Let's just try to create a survey saying, can you help me create a survey for product managers who are learning artificial intelligence? We want to understand how much do the PMs already know about AI, and how do they wish to learn further from their current learning? How can they continue to grow? Limit this to 5 questions only. and then let's say generate, and you can create your own survey which you can circulate around, right? It is generating a survey. It is giving certain questions which it, so three things it takes care of, which generally we have a problem. Leading loaded questions are not drawn here. These questions are built on one after the other, right? And third, which I really liked, is it is very comprehensive in terms of objective and subjective questions. So if you see, there will be some objectivity. These are the questions that it has. Let me just save this. And before we, and if you see right now, let me just rename this workshop day 2 product space. Let's save this. Now I will float this so that we can fill it. The brilliant part, or the most important part of this entire exercise, is we have generated a survey. Interviewing part, depending on what feedback you are giving to the survey, will be automatically taken care by this tool. It will look at these responses that you give to these 5 questions, and then it will ask you counter questions depending on how serious you are and what questions you answer this. So don't try to fake it. Try to give us genuine responses, because we'll do the analysis on those responses itself. If I just save this, then I click on this, let's say workshop day 2 PS. I will copy this and I will paste this in the chat. Let's see how many of you can fill out the survey. And I will go back here and I will also myself try to fill this survey. Let's see. This is the survey. Okay, so this is, I am filling the same survey with you. You can also go ahead and fill it. If you see at the top, there are 5 questions that we asked. What is your current level of understanding of artificial intelligence? I have basic understanding. Okay. Which of the following topics are you most interested in learning about? Maybe machine learning. Next question. How important is AI knowledge into your role? It's extremely important. And how do you prefer to learn about? I prefer to learn with the on-the-job training, of course, application oriented. How many AI related projects have you managed? Maybe I've managed 5 till now. Let's do now, building on what I've given. See, it is doing its analysis, and the interview part, if you see on the top, are you able to see this top right? Interview.
Yes.
Yes, so it's on this top that it is building on its own, right? Can you describe a challenge you faced while managing AI related projects? I was not able to see the quality of responses of my AI applications. How to measure them as effective and relevant? Let's see what is the next question that it builds on this. It is trying to learn and recommend how exactly should I be doing my AI based learning. What strategies or tools you have since implemented to better measure the effectiveness? I have learned about rogue metric and we have built a dashboard for that in all our AI tools. Okay, let's see the next question. Now you see, this is exactly what happens in an interview. Depending on what is the question that the person asked you previously, it builds on that and then asks you a follow-up question. It is not asking generic survey questions that we started off with. Can you share how the implementation of the rogue metrics and dashboards has impacted the decision-making process in AI projects? I have started feeling more confident in taking these projects to end customer now. And the way you respond, the way you are in the direction, it's like interviewing, right? The direction where you take the interviewer to, it goes in that direction. What specific features or data points does your dashboard display to help you assess effectiveness of your? It displays n-gram and exact match sequences. And I'm hoping some of you are also filling out this survey in parallel. Team approaches. My team now makes data driven decisions in AI products. Done. Okay, so it has taken the feedback. Let's go back to this and see if there are any responses that have come in. If anyone of you have, okay, so it has some survey responses. 28 to 27. Can some of you try to fill it out so that we get some responses here? In the meanwhile, I'll take another example here, right, to actually show you. Okay, I'll first show you the data. Let me close this. Okay, if you see product space. If you see this Redmi 6, this is an Amazon data that we downloaded from Kaggle. This is for a particular smartphone, right? Redmi 6 Pro, and this has all these details. Review the title, customer name, what is the rating that the customer has given, what is the date, what is the category of this product, and what has the customer written in the comments. This, because we knew it will take time for survey to populate and we have only so much time to go through this, we will use this data just to see how it does the analytics bit for you, right? If I go back now and if I see my projects, okay, let's go to feedback. Let's say, okay, I'll start from scratch. I've already loaded this data, but I'll again just load it once more. AI projects. This is the file that I've already loaded, right? If I just ask it, why has user churn increased in this? It will look at all the data and it will tell you what went wrong, what is the customers telling about your product. See, this is what the user has written. Battery performance is bad, camera quality is bad, right? Services and returns experiences are bad. And this is just you asking basic prompts. It is running on top of that data and it is giving you that query. Similarly, if you ask what has been good, if you see this, what do users want the most? It has also given you some quality feedback here. The best part about this tool, I'm just seeing the time because, is if you see this feedback, I've uploaded this data and see all the analysis. What are the complaints? All the complaints are here. What are the pain points? All those pain points would be here. Loud features, great camera performance, affordable pricing, long battery life. All this is analyze this data. And you can always add another source and upload your file here and you can get started with your data set. You can start doing that with the Netflix data also. But we wanted to show you another tool. Let's go back and see if some of you have filled that survey or not. Okay, we have 70 submissions. So thank you so much for filling it out, right? Why is it not populating it?
Arun, I think the date bracket seems like it's showing from 20 January instead of 19. So that's why we can't see the responses.
Oh, maybe yes. Correct. Thank you so much. Let's see from this. Yes, from 13 to 28, we have this. So this is where people are. No knowledge are at 20%. Machine learning, computer vision, all this data is there. Plus also your user interview things are. Well, again, let me select a week. Thank you for calling that out. Yep. And this is for individual users. You can just read through this. The good part about this is you can just go into the tool, ask AI, select your data source from here. Let me start a new session. Workshop day 2, right? And show me some user love. It does take time. That's why I'm not brooding over it, but go ahead and play with it. Create your survey, send it out to your users. And if you already have a collated data, add that to your database and let it do the insight part of it. I loved this view. At least if you see the feedback one, definitely read through this. Scrape any data of any e-commerce website and just look at what is the feature request that users are asking for. Even try to do this. We have one sample data set that we can share as post exercises. Google Play Store ratings. We extracted data for Tinder on Google Play Store, upload it and see all the analysis that it tells you. What are the loved features? What are the feature requests? What are the people suffering from? Right. So that's the second tool. Now let's come back to this and again doing some mix of, okay, so we have done ChatGPT, we have created data, we have used Craftul to create surveys, right? We have used Craftul to also analyze your data. But with this, again, keeping the right mix of theory and keeping the right mix of concepts, hands-on application on tools, right? There are all these types of advanced engineering or prompt engineering techniques that, of course, all of them are covered in the cohort, but I'll give you a few examples why the Netflix recommendation engine could not have the right data that it wanted, right? And there is this simple concept of chain of thought. Let's see how many of you can just read through these numbers, and let me zoom this in a bit. Can you just read through this prompt? And this prompt is giving examples, right? The odd numbers in this group add up to an even number. What are the odd numbers? 9, 15, and 1, right? 9 plus 10, 10 plus 15, 25. Is this an even number? No. So the result is false. Just try to do all of this. And can you tell me in the comment section what would be the result, final output of this one, this last line? This is why some of these systems or LLMs are not so smart. I'll just stop sharing the screen. I'll just share this PPT. Yep. Now you can probably just try to do this math and tell me what should have been the ideal output in the chat. Okay, there is one true, there is one false. Can't infer much from that. Yes, Part, you can rely on this data analysis. It is accurate. Yes, Manish, we will share some prompts for you to practice. Definitely. Okay, most of you are saying false, 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 false. Okay, looks like this is an easier problem, but the LLM model gave answer is true. What happened there? What went wrong? Right? And let's do the very simple math here, right? 15 plus 5 plus 13 plus 7 plus 1 ideally should have been 41, which is odd. But it did not know how to do the math, what exactly was expected out of it. And in your prompts, if you can give it the chain of thought that, hey, model, this is how you are supposed to think, right? Then it will be able to give you the right answer. Like if you see this prompt, we have now changed and we have given it exact step-by-step guideline, like adding all the odd numbers. 9 plus 15 plus 1 gives 25. The answer is false. I have given it chain of thought, that how a human mind generally thinks, right? Now if you ask, it will actually give you the right output, saying that, okay, adding all these numbers, 15 plus this is 41, which is false. This is one style of prompting, especially with mathematical questions. You can see another example, this one also. For human mind, it is very simple to interpret, right? But when we are doing maths and reasoning, why do these models fumble? Because they are not able to operate chain of thought. Standard prompting is this, chain of thought prompting is this. Just try to read the difference between the two quickly. I hope that gives you an understanding. And we will share this research paper as after read. Again, we will share 3 research papers today that you can read and understand why this chain of thought prompting is an important concept. And each of these, which we said as an advanced prompting concept, tree of thought, few shot, there is one also self-consistency that we teach in class, which are very similar to this. Another concept is RAG, and some of you would have already read about it, right? If I ask it, say, what is the capital of Indonesia, and this data is trained on 2017. Most of these models were trained on data till 2018. Have some of you seen in the past, can you show a raise of hands, that this model used to say that I don't know the most recent data, I was only trained till 2017 or 18 data? Has anyone of you seen that in the past? Okay, I think
Yes.
Sadhvi, Rohandeep, Kaushik, fantastic. So some of you have seen that behavior, right? Why that used to happen is these models were only trained up to certain point on these data sets. Now, if you have to give it the most recent information, like if I asked my age last year and my birthday just passed and this model was trained on last year's data, it would say, okay, Arun is still maybe, and if it was trained maybe 6 years back, it would still say, hey, Arun is still 25. I'll be more than happy to hear that, right? But I have to somehow provide it that external information that in the year of 2025, in Jan, this is my current age, right? That additional information that I need to provide it for it to actually give me the most relevant or most recent context is called as RAG. Three parts: retrieval, augmented, generation. So retrieval is find the most recent data, which is my age that I've provided it in a external file or something that I might provide it with. Augment it with my prompt. Nothing changes on the LLM model. Remember this concept. Anywhere when you are asked in interviews, RAG does not in any way change the underlying model. It just changes your prompt. So if a user is asking this query, there is this local file which is storing my most recent date of birth. This is augmented to my query. Then it goes to the LLM model. See, it is not touching the base LLM model. Then the model is asked to give the answer. So initially my prompt might be, can you tell me my birthday? And then with that, the data is Arun's date of birth is 1994. As of 2025, these have been the years, 31 years that have passed by, and his current age is this. Now the model is supposed to look at the date of birth and give my date of birth. That is retrieval augmented generation for you. This is just to avoid hallucination and it generating old or redundant facts. We are delivering some theory here because again, the feedback from yesterday was let's have some theory and some tools. So I hope these two concepts of advanced prompting and RAG are completed. If you see here, one part of RAG is this and the other part of this is chain of thought. All the other and all these agents, we'll talk about agents also today later in the class. All these agents are working on reasoning and action. That reflection tree of thought self-consistency leads to most. General knowledge prompting is everything else which is covered in Cohort. Because of dearth of time, we cannot do it today. But each of these makes you a better prompt engineer and lets you extract more value out of the LLM models, right? I hope that's clear. So we have analyzed the user feedback of Craftul. We have seen how you can get the feature request and the best tools. And I think someone was asking, can you trust? You can definitely 100% trust the analysis that it is doing. You can run it through your data science teams also. It'll be interesting if they can give you another layer of insights other than what Craftful does. Now let's come to the third one, which is data visualization. And I think the best stories or the best PRDs that are written are with data visualizations, right? And for that, we are using the tool Julius.ai. I will just quickly again share my screen and also share the URL of the tool in the chat for you to work with me. If you have not already created, okay, let's see. Let me, and it is also very, okay, let's, are you able to see the Julius screen?
No.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Now.
Now?
No.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Fantastic. So this is the tool, right? Let's quickly, the data that we generated from Netflix movie recommendation. If you create an account, let me just, if you create the account for the first time, it is something like this. This is how it will look like. Now the most brilliant part of all of this is this does cleaning, significance testing, time series analysis, everything on its own. Just one thing, because of the data privacy, is it only allows file to be uploaded for 1 hour. So I'll need to upload the file again and again. Let me just try to upload the file, which is this Netflix movie reviews, and open it. Once it is loaded, you can ask it question, right? Can you, okay, now it has loaded the data, and you can play around with the data. You can make modification and all of that. You can create plots also. Let's just say, can you tell me the top movie from the above data? Now it is analyzing it. It's doing the thinking. You can, of course, look at the code. You can run the code yourself in your Python basis what is it's rating the movies, right? So it has created a genre. This is the top movie that it is giving, rating 10 out of 10, right? Can you generate a bar graph for me with axis as completion rate and reviews? See, it has generated a bar graph. So we can clearly infer higher completion rate does not mean higher ratings, right? Can you give me a pie chart with the above data? Oops. So it gives me this as well, right? How many movies are in action category, how many are, and you just need to write prompts. You don't need to do anything. One very good part, and because this data was artificially created, it has its own layers of problems. I will show you some. Let me see if I have my threads. I have a real data of and we'll share this data as post class. You can do your own analysis on this. I have the IPL data of 2020, 2008 to 2023. This is available on Kaggle. You can download it. We analyze this data and then we ask, can you tell us which is the most successful team, right? And it gave CSK, Mumbai Indians, SRH, GL, and highest was RPS. And then if you look at the code, it tells you what was the reasoning that it applied on top of that. Only problem with this tool as of now that we were able to discover was that the context that it keeps for a file is 1 hour. Maybe with premium you can better it, but a lot of cool capabilities, a lot of cool capabilities, especially around cleaning your data. I also wanted to show you one more workflow. So if you see, if it is finding any data which is not clean, I just said I'll analyze, tell me the top performing team. It said that there is no clear concept of winner defined. The error indicates that column winner does not exist in the data set. So I will inspect the column and rename the columns. It is also renaming the column. It's also cleaning some of the headers. It will clean your data. If there are null values, it will also ignore that. All the data analysis, cleaning, matching is done by the tool, and eventually it gives you the result. So if you have a submission, or if you have of course, in your assignments, do code Julius.ai, but you can say, okay, the company gave me this data and this was the assignment. I used this tool and these are the steps that it did. No more it is about doing data sciences, data analysis course. It is just using these tools and understanding what is happening at each of the stage. Open your data and see what it does. It shows you line by line what it is renaming to. Right? Does that make sense with me?
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay. So this was the diagram that I created for IPL teams, and you can create visualization. You can just write it prompts and you can go ahead and view all of this. Coming to the most interesting bits, which is around storytelling for PMs and competitor analysis, right? At least 40 to 60% of our effort goes around building a good story, because you need to go and narrate this to your developer team or your marketing team. And also when you have images, it is good to narrate these stories, in a more convincing manner, right? That is why agents, everyone is building their agents. Our cohort member are, their capstone project or the final project that you ask them to do is build agents for themselves, right? And we will be having another workshop where we'll be showing those agents to you, to show you the power of agents, right? There is this beautiful concept by founder of Dharmesh Shah. Those of you who haven't tried it already, I would definitely want you to go ahead and try it. If you're not using agents, please start using it. There is a strong belief, and I personally subscribe to that year of 2025 would be the year of agents, right? Let's look at the first one. Okay, just to impress you, these are the images created by agent. This is for Kumbh Mela. I will give you the prompt. And this is the image for the swearing in ceremony of Donald Trump that's coming in with single prompts, right? If you can generate this quality, and the prompt was also not written by us, the prompt was also written by the GPT. You just go and ask Claude that, hey, write me a prompt to generate this image, and this is how good it can be. To show you the power of these agents, there is this platform called agents.ai. I will put the link in the chat, right? All of you, please go ahead. There are almost 2000 agents that are now published. We will play around with some of these agents, but I want you to independently just play whichever agent you find you're suited, right? I love this agent, which is created by Dharmesh Shah himself, which is competitor research. Let me just hire this agent. There is nothing paid. You can always do one transaction at a time. And it takes time to load the agent. Okay. Which company do you want to do research on? Let's see what it tells about Myntra.com. It is running all the reasoning and action framework in the background. And this is the research that it has done about Myntra.com, right? The founders. And if you see, it has given me very detailed research about what is the competition and what are the competition doing differently. It has all the data, funding data, Glassdoor, decision makers, articles, team. If you want to connect someone on LinkedIn, this is superly fantastic for people who are in sales and who want to convert leads. It gives you direct inbox messaging to all the folks that you want to reach out to, right? If you see, this is Ajio, Tata Click, Snapdeal, Amazon Fashion, Flipkart Fashion. What are they doing and what is the description of that? And then the funding and all of that data as well, right? Just one single click. Gone are the days when you need to click 10 URLs, open 10 reports, collate that, make a presentation and send it out. Competitor research at your disposal. Second was this tool that I was talking about, image creation, right? Let's just go to Flux image generator, and whichever you use the most, that will by default be on your top. So I use these two. If you see, these many tasks are generated by it. Let's just initiate this. And you can today, if you post something on your LinkedIn, create some image, create some competitor research using this, and create an image of a cute panda in Mahakumbh Mela, or in the Donald Trump presidential ceremony. Panda should be on a skateboard. Let's see what it gives. And you can always read about these tools. You can keep experimenting which tools are what. Nice. So this is what it generated, right? You can take a snap of this and you can post it. But yeah, we really want you to try these agents. We really want you to get agnostic of you joining the cohort, learning with us in future or not. We really want you to be fans of agent and increase your productivity with all the tools. We have given you 7 tools yesterday. We have given already 5 tools. We'll give you 2-3 more tools today. Be fantastic PMs. Gone are the days where you need to do grunt work. You have to be steadfast in using all these agents at your disposal, right? Now coming back to this, we have done computer analysis, we have done story of the image creation. One more, generally we have seen for image creation, people only use DALI and Midjourney. We wanted to also expose you to this different tool, which is Stability or Stable Diffusion. If you look at stable.ai, right, search and replace, search this egg with a dinosaur. Okay, fantastic. Erase this background image. Okay, fantastic. If I erase it, it's going all over. Make a cat sit in this cart. Okay. Make this into 3D. Okay. Make crocs out of these watermelon. Fantastic. Right. Just see the scale of this. Right. What are all the possibilities? Zoom in, zoom out. Right. Remove background. Change color of the cloth. I've just joined. I'm trying this for myself because I'm trying to create a comic script. I do shamble very bad sketch drawings, convert this to an animated character. There you go. Try this tool, do hands-on, create your own image to video sort of stuff, and let us know how your experience has been. So I hope today we have been able to cover some aspects of tools and theory that you wanted. We will take a pause here because we also want to do justice to the Miro team. We will invite them in some time. I'll take some questions. We have more content for you coming up, especially around what our cohort members have done, part 1. Part 2, what are some other tools that you can use to avoid getting your system hacked. There is this entire concept of adversarial prompts. And finally, we will leave you with a very beautiful plan of, I don't want to give money to product space. I don't want to take up their cohort. I just want to learn myself own. What should my next 5 weeks look like? So at the end of the session, we will share that 5 weeks plan with you, which can drive your self-learning towards AI, right? We'll take a pause here. Sakshi, any thoughts?
Akshay, or should we invite Abhishek, Arun, your pick?
Yep. Akshay, are you here?
Yeah, Arun. Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Hi. Okay, fantastic. So we can probably start with Akshay. So Akshay is product manager. Sorry, that's not Germany. He's currently based out of Sweden. He's been with Mercedes-Benz previously. Currently, he's with Volvo, and he was one of our early cohort members. If you follow him on LinkedIn, you would know he's one of the biggest AI evangelists that is out there. He has seen so much exposure to so many tools. He was one of the person who brought a lot of tools to our information. His forte lies in prompt engineering and image generation specifically. He has, I think, taken a lot of premium subscriptions also of these courses. And what I've learned personally from Akshay is it's okay to invest in yourself when it comes to monetary, because you gain a lot of value out of it. He was the first person who exposed me to the pro version of Perplexity, and probably today also he will be talking about some of those pro tools. So thank you, Akshay, for taking time. I hope you can share some of your learning with the cohort, future cohort members, some of the people who are there on this, and they get to learn a new tool with you today. Thank you so much for taking time.
Yeah, thank you, Sakshi, and thank you, Arun. I hope everyone is having fun with this workshop. I'll start with sharing my screen. I'll take you through like 2-3 tools where we have generated a prompt, and then we'll try to create an image. And I will also explain you what is the difference when you create different images, because they are all using different training models. And the technique, it's called stable diffusion, which I'll explain. Yeah. So let me share my screen.
Be a little louder.
Yeah, 1 second. It's clear now?
Just come closer. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's better.
Yeah.
Just a quick time check. We have 7 minutes. So yeah.
Yeah, I should be able to finish within that. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. I hope my screen is visible to everyone.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. One more thing I would like to mention, like I have a Perplexity Pro subscription, and if you go in the setting, the best part about Perplexity is like you get 3 different image generation models. Usually all the other apps, you get only one. And with this, you also get like different large language models. So with Perplexity, you get Claude, which is a different, Claude is a LLM model trained by Anthropic. So it's a different company. Then you get GPT-4o, which is by OpenAI, and you get Grok 2. Grok is by Elon Musk. So they have a company called XAI. So it's part of that. So, and this is from Llama. Llama is by Meta. So this is an open source model. All other models are mostly closed source. So you see the benefit of Perplexity is like you get 3 image generation model and 8 language models. So it's a really nice tool. And then now I'll try to create an image. I've also fixed my setting, if you see here, on the Flux. So I'm using Flux image generation model here. And I'm trying to create an image of Mahakumbh 2025. We have generated this prompt. So let's see how it creates the image. Okay, so the thing with Perplexity is like you can see this model is not tailored towards image generation. It's mostly tailored towards large language algorithm. So it doesn't directly create the image, but it has a feature on the side you can see like generate image. And then it asks you in what format you would like to generate. So at the moment I'm clicking on photograph. So this has a little bit different user interface compared to all other image generation tools. And now you can see it's loading the image. So if you see this image, this is created by Flux. And then I will use one more tool. I'll change my screen. So I also have a full subscription of this model called Grok. Grok is by XAI, which is a Elon Musk company. So I'll put the same prompt here. The interesting part about Grok is like it creates 4 images at a time. I think it's the only model which creates like 4 images at a time. All other models usually create 1 image at a time. Yeah. I guess the context was too much, so it was not able to differentiate between all the images. So it just resulted in 1 image. And then, I will also show you how does it work on DALI. So I have one more image, which I'll create here. And the fun part about this image generation models are like they are trained on different data sets. So most likely, yeah. So if you see in ChatGPT, it's using DALI as a model. So it creates little bit animated images. And in Flux and Grok, it is trained mostly on like a real life photography. So it creates mostly like a real, close to reality, the images. If you see, this is kind of like little bit more animated in general. So this is trained on a lot of data from Google and all these websites. So it also depends like what type of model you use and what type of output it produces. So that's more than enough for now. And if you want to take over, Sakshi and Arun. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Akshay. It was fantastic. Learn 2-3 more tools, Grok, GPT, and the quality of images are Perplexity are definitely. So one thing that clearly comes out is the value increases significantly once you have the pro subscription. Sakshi, I think we are good to bring in the Miro folks.
You got another understanding of how to use certain tools, right? So we now have the Miro team here. They have kindly come in and would be sharing a little bit about Miro product and how it has been integrating AI as well, and how it can possibly help the PMs as well use an AI focused tool again, right? So sorry, I'm facing some issues here. Arun, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, screen is completely stuck. Awesome, no worries. So first up, I would like to invite Sunil Pamnani here. He heads the Asia business at Miro. So Sunil, if you're here, if you can wave a hi to the folks that we have here in the session.
Yeah, look, I've got my video on, so hopefully everybody can see me.
Yes.
On the chat group. So if you could probably stop sharing, Sakshi, and then Pete Brad from my team might start sharing the screen. But good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for allowing Miro to present at today's event that you're having. I would like to especially, first of all, thank Sakshi and the product space team for allowing us to do this. And hopefully you find some good learnings, some better understanding of Miro over the next 15, 20 minutes of our presentation in there. Quick, I mean, I don't know how to do this. Maybe in the chat, if you could put in, or you could do a thumbs up on screen. But if you have used Miro, go ahead and put a thumbs up. I love to see all these thumbs ups coming up. So yeah, look, I'm very excited to be talking to people who have already used Miro. And as Sakshi mentioned, I lead the team here in Southeast Asia, based out of Singapore, and for the whole of Asia, we have a team here. Peter, if you could go to the next slide, mate. So in terms of our who we have on the call, so it's of course myself, Pete Brad. I'm very happy he's able to join us from Sydney. It's quite late over there, but he's given us his time. He's a chief evangelist at Miro and has not only been a user of Miro, a customer of Miro, but also now works at Miro advising a lot of our customers around how to do innovation and collaboration. Along with us too, we have Shabri, who's part of the VSAS team. VSAS is a premier Miro partner in India, and they support all our clients while on the ground. So I invited them should any discussions take forward from here. On to the next slide. Like I said, we have a very small time. It's 20 minutes, so we have a very short agenda for it, which is to kind of quickly go and let everybody know about the new innovation workspace that Miro launched back in October last year. So it's only 3 months old. Most of you may have heard about it or may not have heard about it, but it's our job to kind of let you know how the AI-powered innovation workspace works today. And also very specifically for the audience that we have on the call, all 181 of you, how does it help to kind of do a lot of things for product managers, including reducing time to market by 50%. So we'll go through that in the next few minutes. Very quickly, if I go to the next slide, I never go into a meeting where somebody has already not used Miro, because when you have a product that's being used by more than 80 million people across the world and close to 8 million in Asia, and in India, we have more than 1 million users using Miro very actively. It's a great ice break, kind of getting the discussion going. So thank you again for all your support in using Miro and excelling it. And we planned on growing this user base as we build our team out of Singapore to support India and the other parts of Asia here in there. So with that, I will pass it over to Pete Brad to take us through the innovation workspace. Pete, over to you, mate.
Thanks, Sunil. Hi, everyone. My name's Pete Brad. I've been working in product for 20 years now. I started my first startup back in 2006, and I've created 6 companies since then. I now work with Miro in our product team as our chief evangelist for APAC. I just flew back from India last night. It was quite an exciting trip with Sunil and the team. What I'm going to do is take you through Miro's new product updates, which is around the innovation workspace. And I'll also give you a bit of a demo before handing back to Sunil and the team. So for those that don't know Miro, the mission of Miro is to enable teams to create the next big thing. We're built for teams bringing new products and services to market, and we're designed for that new world that we're in, that distributed collaborative work. And Miro's main focus is on improving the speed and impact of the innovations that you all are creating. The way that we've witnessed, I suppose, product teams, cross-functional product teams be using software and trying to get innovation done over the past 18 months, what we've witnessed is a lot of different roles are using their own bespoke tools. And what's happening is that a lot of product teams are starting to innovate in silos. Design teams are using design-specific tools. Product managers are using certain tools. Business analysts are using other tools. And all of that information's in silos. And so Miro's position on this is that in order to win, in order to be able to do this, discover, define, We need to move from those innovation in silos to innovation at scale, where everyone has access to everything they need to be on the same page, to have that shared understanding. And so many of you probably used Miro on the left-hand side of this Discover for that unstructured brainstorming, maybe mind mapping, collaborating with your teams, perhaps running design sprints or other types of workshops. Often then what happens is you'll maybe move out of the tool for the define stage, where you start to converge on a product requirements document, or you might start to prototype some solutions. And then finally, many of you might come back into Miro for the deliver phase. And so what Miro has done is we've connected this discover, define, deliver phase in the innovation workspace, and we've powered it with AI. So some of the things that you can do on Miro, that many of our customers do on Miro, sort of at the beginning in that discover phase, collecting customer insights, pasting those customer insights into Miro, using Miro to synthesize the information and facilitate conversation. Might be around setting up the team and doing a team canvas, getting to know who's on the team and what the product team's goals are. Doing your road mapping, so identifying your roadmaps and building your roadmaps and showcasing your roadmaps. As we move into the define phase, it might be building your teams and doing technical designs, be they solution architecture or customer discovery maps, or doing some prototyping. And finally, as we move into delivery, many teams are using tools like Jira or Azure DevOps or other repository tool systems of record to record the work, and they bring that work onto Miro so they can collaboratively talk about it and start to map out dependencies together. And Miro has over 160 integrations to many of the tools that you might be using to do these jobs. And the aim of that is to bring all that information onto the same canvas so the cross-functional team all has access to that information. When we launched the Innovation Workspace in New York in October last year, we launched it with the 4 pillars. So firstly, obviously, we've got collaborative roots. Many of you have used Miro to collaborate with your colleagues. So firstly, it's innovate together. We want to break the silos and make teamwork engaging and inclusive for all teams. The second pillar is innovating faster. We know that speed is really important to being able to grow your organization. You need to be both innovative and be shipping fast. And so we've included AI at every stage and with automations built right into the flow to help you move from the discover to define to deliver. And I'll show you that in the prototype in the demo in a sec. And thirdly, we've got innovate your way, because every organization has their own way of innovating depending on where they're at in their journey, their size, the organizational structure and industry they might operate in. And so you're able to adapt Miro to unique processes and needs. So you have that flexible platform that syncs with all of the different tools that you use. And finally, it's innovate securely, which is the base pillar. 7 of the top 10 most innovative companies in the world build their innovations on Miro. And so we know we have to build a platform that protects your most critical and sensitive content in Miro with all of the advanced security tools you would expect for that. In terms of the history of Miro, quickly, our founder invented the online whiteboard. So he digitized the online whiteboard back in 2011 as real-time board. If you were a user of real-time board, maybe give me a thumbs up. Or put something in the chat. I know there's quite a few people always let me know that they used it back when it was real-time board. And we created that category at that time. In 2013, we invented the visual collaboration category, which we're a leader at. And going into the pandemic, where everyone was working from home, Miro really shot up in terms of the number of users that we have and people using Miro to be able to collaborate with their colleagues in a distributed world. Finally, last year, we introduced the Innovation Workspace. We know that innovation is critical for growth, and there is just so much changing at the moment for organizations and for product managers. And so we want to provide product teams with the latest technology to be able to get the job done. As Sunil said, we're a very large company. We've got over 80 million customers. There's over 1 million customers in Asia, and we've got 230,000 businesses using Miro. So it's quite a large user base. just going to play a quick video, which will give a bit of a trailer to the demo, and then I'll give you a little demo and show you how you can use Miro to save up to 50% of time as a product manager.
So what's happened to how we work today? I mean, there's an update meeting about an update meeting from a meeting that was 2 hours ago. How are this many productivity tools productive? We message about the work more than getting the actual work done. The way we work isn't working. We're siloed off, heading off in different directions. Teams are, well, shutting off. Enter Miro, the innovation workspace. It's one AI-powered platform for the whole team to move faster together, from idea to outcome. All built on a collaborative, intelligent canvas. You could be stuck with a whole bunch of ideas, but no action. Or your team could use Miro AI right on the canvas to stay in their flow, creating product briefs, defining solutions, and aligning on a plan to deliver outcomes. We're on a roll. Let's keep this momentum. Turn ideas into interactive prototypes while using AI to get you there in minutes and get them into customers' hands for feedback faster than ever before. Another all-nighter finding everything you need for tomorrow's review? Nope, easily find it all in one handy space. Some helpful suggestions from our AI sidekick. Amazing. And a quick check-in to make sure stakeholders are feeling good. Woohoo! Let's go! A project from start to finish, all in one innovation workspace. That's a go for launch, my friends. So where to next, team? Innovation belongs on the canvas. Innovation belongs on Miro.
Okay. I will move over to a quick demo for you. There's a lot that's come out of the innovation workspace. I've only got about 7 minutes, so I'll take you through some of the intros, and then we'll let you know how you can find out more about what we've done. So I'm just going to start with this canvas. This is a canvas that many of you have probably seen. It's a product brief, and it's a product brief brainstorm. And what the team has done is they've identified 3 areas for this particular, it's a fictional company called Flex Fund, which is a mobile app for banking, where they've got some challenges and there's some pain points for customers, and they want to create features to remove or resolve those pain points. And so the teams come together and they've done a brainstorm. Some of the things that we've recently brought into Miro are these intelligent widgets. So things like a sticky stack that gives you unlimited, infinite sticky notes for your teams. We've also brought in these voting dots, and these voting dots are aware that they're on a sticky note. So in the olden days, many of you probably created little circles and you had to group them. We've just made the canvas a little bit more intelligent. We've also got these interactive stickers, and you're able to come on and click on the stickers and upvote things. There's a whole bunch of them. Those stickers change and morph, and if they get enough votes, they might explode. We're doing these little things just to make people lean in to working remotely, to have a little bit more fun at work, and to bring a bit more interactivity and engagement to the work that we do when we're working in a distributed way. Some other things that we've done in terms of the intelligent widgets are the spinny wheel. So you might be working with your team and you might have just done a retro, or you've done another workshop and you want someone to talk, but everyone's sort of not coming forward. What you're able to do with a spinny wheel is press spin, and somebody from your team will get voluntold. So this can be a fun way to have an icebreaker, or to actually have some meaningful discussion where you might want to change up the order. Maybe that passionate Pete always goes first, so you want to be a bit more democratic by using the spinny wheel. So there's a few things we've done on this canvas. Now, what you'd normally do if you'd done this brainstorm on Miro, many of our customers would then take that brainstorm, somebody would then write it up in a word processing document. It could be a Word or maybe Coda or another tool, Google Docs, for example. What we've done on Miro is we've now introduced the docs format, and we've powered that docs format with AI. So moving from this unstructured thinking to a structured format is as easy as clicking this button. So I'm about to click it, and you'll see AI turn this into a product brief. So as you can see, it's gone through and it's taken all of the information that we had in problem 1, 2, and 3. It's used a prompt, which is behind this generate product brief button, and it's created a document. Now, this document can be used in a focus mode, and this focus mode has its own URL. So you could send just this document to, say, a senior stakeholder, or maybe someone that doesn't need to see all of the information, but it does live here on the canvas. Now, the document's interactive. You might have a diagram that somebody has created and you want that to go into the document. Or perhaps your designers have created an image and you need that to go into the document. Or perhaps the team's come up with some additional ideas that didn't make it into the original product brief brainstorm. And so you might want to drag those into the document. And so it's as easy as dragging these things in, and it's multiplayer, real-time collaborative, like you would expect from Miro. Now, in terms of these buttons, I pressed a button and normally what happens is people will ask me, can you show me the magic behind this button? So what we'll do is I'll just show you the action shortcut button that we have. Now, Miro's got a number of these buttons that you can use, and the aim is to democratize AI. I saw you sort of having a bit of an introduction to Perplexity and other AI tools. For those people that are more advanced with AI, they can come in and start to create buttons for their teams and create prompts for their teams that they can share. So there are 3 types of buttons that we can do. We can create a shortcut. We can create with Miro AI, which is what I just did with the product brief, or we can run a sidekick. In terms of creating with Miro AI, essentially what I can do is I can create sticky notes, structured documents, images, or diagrams. And they can be mind maps, flowcharts, ULM diagrams. There's a whole bunch of different diagrams that you might want to create using our AI tool. Once you've clicked the output, you can then choose the source. So one of the things that we announced with the Innovation Workspace is that the canvas is the prompt. The information that you have that you need for your prompt already exists on the canvas. It's where your team's done the work. And so what we wanted you to be able to do is to create an output, to create the next step, the structured document, without having to copy and paste all of that information into Perplexity or ChatGPT or another tool. You're able to do it right here on the canvas in Miro. And so what you're able to do is come in here and select the different frames that you're after. You can choose a destination, and then you can create a pretty complex prompt, whatever you might want in here, that reflects the type of output you want. For example, I could put create a lean canvas with 3 options per box. And I can come in here and save this button. And then I'm able to come in and press run. I've asked it to create a structured document with a lean canvas with 3 options per box. So it's taken that information. It knows the lean canvas format. It obviously hasn't put it into the template because I've asked it to create a structured doc. And it's given us three areas for each one of those lean canvas problems just to get us going. Now, in terms of the sidekicks, we've got a whole bunch of sidekicks that we've launched. So I'll go run a sidekick, and essentially with a sidekick, what you can do is choose a persona. And so you can come in here and you can choose product leader or agile coach, or if you're in a product marketing team, we've partnered with the Product Marketing Alliance to get all of their content into this persona. And so what you can do is come in here, we're going to run a sidekick, we want it to be a product leader, and that persona has 2 things that it can do out of the box. It can give you feedback or suggestions, just like a product leader might, or it can generate extra ideas for you. And so you can choose, 1 or 2 of those buttons. And then again, you select the sources that you want it to give you feedback on. I'll click save. And what I do is just come in here and click the button, and you'll see the product leader has come onto the board. It's reading the frames that I instructed it to, and it's starting to give me feedback in real time. I'll just zoom in so you can see what kind of feedback the product leader might have given you. And so that's a way to invoke some of these AI agents onto the board to give you an extra help or an extra set of hands. So we've also got the Create with AI button up here, and you can do sticky notes, documents, images, diagrams, prototypes, all these sidekicks. I'm going to pause there because we're out of time and I want to hand it back to Sunil and the team, and they'll share with us a little bit more as to how we can share a little bit more with you.
Yeah, look, thanks, Pete, for that. And for everybody, thank you for all the upvotes and also in the chat. Clearly, this was just scratching the surface and lots more has to be uncovered. So considering the amount of time we have, we kind of focus the demo just on a couple of things. Happy to have a chat with anybody who's interested to know more about the AI capability and how it's going to drive further for your workspace. Just scan this QR code and my team will be able to reach out to you to kind of we're happy to kind of offer a 2-hour discovery workshop with our partners, VSAS. So look, again, the purpose today was to kind of give you a quick heads up and happy to chat more about this. Over to you, Sakshi.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sunil and Pete, for coming in. That was really an amazing walkthrough, the kind of way Miro has actually integrated AI, right? So we just talk about AI integration in different products, but we can actually see it in action. And during the workshop as well, we've used quite a few tools. So I think, folks, there is a product which already has all of those things, right, in it. So I hope a lot of you are already using Miro, so you would be able to play around with it even further. Sunil, if you could share the link with me also on WhatsApp, I can put it across in the chat here if that's required. Yeah.
Sure, I'll do that.
Awesome. Thank you, Sunil, Pete, for coming in here, and we look forward to staying connected further as well.
Wonderful. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Awesome. Arun, over to you. We just have a few more minutes left.
Yep, we'll try to wind up on time, and we really want to give the roadmap for people who want to do self-learning. I'll quickly invite Abhishek. Abhishek, if you can quickly showcase your work in terms of the case studies that you have read and how big companies like Uber, Nvidia, and all of them are using Gen AI. Then we can quickly share the roadmap for week 1 to week 8. People who don't even enroll in course, we have collated some free certifications, hands-on exercises that you can do for your self-learning.
Sure. Thank you, Arun. Thank you, Sakshi. Is my voice audible?
Yep.
Okay. Let me quickly share my screen. So. All right. Thank you everyone for joining this session. I was just like one of you joining one of these product space sessions for Gen AI, and that got me intrigued, and that's why I'm part of this cohort. And I would like to share with all of you what a few case studies that we have gone through as part of this entire initiative. So going forward, we are going to cover a few topics that we got through as part of this cohort as introduction to neural networks, the significance of weight, activation functions, and hyperparameters, LLM deep dive and exploring transformers. All of this something that you will get to know once you join the cohort. But today I just give you a quick glimpse of how other companies are kind of leveraging them for their products. First, we'll go through the Google wearables case study, then Uber's case study on quick query GPT, followed by NVIDIA's digital avatars and how YouTube is leveraging LLMs for their recommendation system. All right, so we all use wearable devices to monitor how we are doing in terms of fitness, and that's a kind of a very big data set that can be used for any relevant way of identifying insights. And one thing that Google has thought of is using a large sensor model. In that way, they can leverage the data and try to identify key insights which can help them to understand the behavior and the pattern of how people are using the fitness devices. Now, previously they were using supervised learning where all of the data sets or the parameters are labeled, and that is how they're kind of using it for classification. But that leaves a lot of gap and a lot of space which where we have a lot of data set that is getting missed out in the process because they're not labeled. So labeling is one thing that has been hindering that process, and Google thought to improve that using the large sensor model, where they've expanded their data set across 165,000 users and across 40 million hours of data. What they've done is instead of labeling each and every parameters or features, they have kind of not done that, and they've limited the number of labelings. And instead, they've kind of masked or hidden some of the data or of the data that is being captured from the process, and enabling the use or the machine to learn from that by imputing or trying to identify the data that has been missing out. In that way, not only they're learning about it, but at the same time they are able to understand the underlying pattern, and in that way it's going to give a much more refined set of key insights going forward. That is one thing that Google has introduced for the wearable devices, and they're planning to scale that. And this is just in theory, but they have seen promising results that is coming out of the large sensor model, and hopefully we will get to see that in the devices that comes up in near course of time. Next is Uber, that is dealing with Query GPT. Now, a lot of you who are product managers, I think SQL is kind of bread and butter for us to gather data. And often it is not only important to know the right SQL syntax, but also also important to know where to look for data. And that's where Uber Query GPT helps us. It talks about it talks about not only using the SQL the syntaxes, but also understanding the purpose for which the user is looking for the data, and kind of and helping you out and trying to provide you with the quickest time around in terms of providing you with that data. So once you provide a prompt, just like a ChatGPT does, the Uber Query GPT will not only convert it into a vector and identify the relevant tables that it can approach for that, but will also try to understand the intent behind it so that it can provide you the right set of data at the quickest amount of time. And that's where Query GPT comes into picture. The output for this will be an explanation along with this query syntax that you can use for getting the data set. And not only that, we have a lot of limitations in terms of ChatGPT with number of tokens. So going through the large amount of vast tables and schemas, it's going to be a lot of challenge. So what Query GPT does, it prunes some of the unrelated or irrelevant columns so that you are getting a very refined set of data set within which you can run the query and get the data what is relevant for you. Next, if I talk about is the digital avatars, I think something that Arun had addressed already, the importance of agentic AI, and that is definitely going to be the next thing in, or it's already going to be the thing in 2025 or in the days coming forward. NVIDIA talks about how digital avatars is going to play a lot of importance in multiple sectors. If I talk about customer support, if I talk about agentic AI being used in healthcare sector, kind of being your personal assistant and giving you insights from time to time when you are kind of having any queries regarding your medication. Agentic AI is going to play a lot of role in that particular aspect. We have some companies already that like SoftServe that has already created agentic AIs in the field of customer support, also in the field of financial advisor that is going to provide you with adequate insights when you need and help you drive towards the right decision and take an informed decision in the process. So that's where agentic AI is going to play a huge role going forward into the future. Last but not the least, I would like to talk about YouTube recommendation system, something we are all very familiar about. But I like to go into the depths of how it's going to provide you with the right set of recommendations. At this point of time, we have a ranking model that kinds of ranks all the songs, all the videos that is out there, and provides you with a suitable response. But at times, you kind of skip a particular song. So if I give an example, let's say you're listening to a slow song and then you get a song with a very upbeat kind of a song, you kind of tend to skip it. But that is not going to be the case, let's say, when you're working in a gym or working out. So in that case, the recommendation model is going to understand the intent behind what the person is doing and kind of recommend songs accordingly. So not only the ranking model comes into the picture, but also YouTube leverages transformer, which is something that we will learn a lot in details as part of our cohort, how it understands the intent behind what the user is searching for and tries to use that information to provide you with suitable recommendations. So that's where YouTube is using transformer, which is what how modern time LLMs are also leveraging to provide you with the right set of data that is kind of designed for the purpose of the intent that you're searching data for. And as you can see, all the images that are here, these are not taken down from the internet. These have been created by DALI, which is being used by ChatGPT. And that's how important prompt engineering is. And it is very powerful. So if you have a good knack of using prompts, it's going to be very relevant and very important for you in today's to come. I hope you get some glimpse of it and it motivates you to kind of dive deep into the world of generative AI going forward. With that, I'll pass it over to you, Arun. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abhishek. Thank you so much, Akshay, for sharing your insight. These are fascinating and very less have we seen Google I/O and all of these becoming about recommendation engines, explicit call out for YouTube recommendation, and of course query GPT. Some of you who are fans of SQL, please do try it. We can share the research paper. We are at time and we have also see some people dropping. I'd first like to thank the Miro team and also Abhishek Banerjee and Akshay for taking time to walk us through this. We are here for learning, we are here for growth, and at Product Space we want to give you a plan which you can start using. It's a 8-week plan. You can take screenshots of this. To answer question on the slides or presentation, I think Sakshi would be the best person to answer that, but I'll just allow you to take a screenshot of this and the next one. We have collated free certification and hands-on exercises which can get you started from 0 to at least, not if 100 or 10, at least 1 on the fundamentals of AI. You can follow this weekly plan. We have highlighted what you need to focus on, where are the free courses, what are the certifications that you can get under your belt, and that should get you going. Otherwise, if you are part of the cohort member, we will make sure we cover all of these for you with the certifications. This is for people who said, can we get more resources? I want to do self-study. We have just created something for you. We'll call it a day with that. Thank you so much for taking time today. It was fantastic interacting with you yesterday and today. It is great that you're spending a weekend in upskilling. It has to be year and decade of AI. So we hope some of you get to become better AI PMs with our delivery of these 2 days workshop. Feel free to leave your feedback. Feel free to reach out if you want to join the cohort. I think February cohort would be full. So we will definitely try to accommodate in you for the March cohort and onwards. Any thoughts, Sakshi? Parting thoughts?
No, just want to thank everyone for doing this for 2 days. A lot of people don't even want to upskill, and all of you have come in. A great applause to all of you. You can give a pat on your back as well. You've spent almost 4 to 5 hours learning, spending with us. So thank you for spending your time with us, and hope the weekly plan that Arun has shared helps you get started, right? In depth, of course, we would love to help you forward as well. So we're always here. I will share a contact number and today's feedback form. So you can fill today's feedback form as well. Whatever you felt, that helps us in terms of building our next sessions and how did you overall find this session as well, right? All of your kind thoughts would be great if you can share in the feedback form. That means a lot. I'll share Arun's LinkedIn, but who he accepts to connect with is not in my hand, folks. So I'll share
No,
a quick.
as I said, I would, sorry to interject, but I would read the inbox message that you're sending. I would love to have a virtual coffee chat, and then, of course, you can stay connected for longer.
Yes. Awesome. Folks,
Thank you,
any
Sakshi,
questions?
for bringing this together. Thank you for bringing this audience. I think there are very less folks, at least in the Indian ecosystem, who are upskilling at the pace that you at Product Space are delivering. Last cohort, we had fantastic set of PMs. We are hoping this cohort also brings out some really great work. So kudos to you, Pamit, Akhil, for delivering such a great experience. And these 2 days, it was immense learning for me as well.
All right, folks, if there are no other questions, I will be closing the call. Thank you so much for being an amazing audience. And we hope to see you again in our next sessions. Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a great Sunday.